Forspoken new gameplay is here in 2 different videos about parkour abilities as well as your magic and the combat. I want to break down everything that was in those videos and talk about why I think it's starting to look a little bit better, but I still have my concerns about Forspoken as far as gameplay loop. Now, I'm going to put all of the good information right here at the beginning of the video so you don't have to go looking for it. If you're a current member on this channel and you're watching the live stream or the VOD, I need you to upgrade to a full membership before December. I'll have more details after this opening update for you about that. This is a Reforge update. Forspoken new gameplay looks promising, but there's still some issues I think that are a little concerning. I'm going to give you a very quick summary of the magical parkour abilities as well as combat support and defensive abilities that they've outlined in 2 different videos on the PlayStation YouTube channel. If you like these quick updates, be sure to hit subscribe and the bell button so you don't miss my upload. So first, I want to address the magical parkour. This is one of the areas where I think things look both good as well as kind of weird. So they outlined a variety of things you're going to need to master in order to traverse the world as well as survive in combat. So the first thing to talk about is flow. You can move at high speeds and get more complex traversal abilities. You have to learn to maintain your stamina while using flow and other parkour abilities. Some abilities can aid with stamina management. There was one they talked about called the rush ability, actually helps with this. You can actually sort of get some stamina back as you're going. Then they talked about the shimmy ability, which allows you to accelerate rapidly by kicking off the ground. It sort of gives your character a bit of a skipping stone feel across the ground. You can complete challenges to upgrade your parkour abilities to make them better and more efficient, as well as your stamina management. The float ability allows you to sort of soften your fall and safely fall from extreme heights. There's a glide ability. You've seen her doing this. It's like she's sort of surfing on the water on like an ice surfboard. This allows you to skim across the surfaces of all of the water locations. Zip, they're calling it Zip. That's the magical tether you might have seen from some of the trailers. It's like a red whip or grappling hook. You can actually use this to dodge enemies, which I thought looked pretty interesting because when they use it in the trailer, everything slowed down. So I'm curious if parkour abilities are going to give you that movement choice to slow everything down and get completely out of the way, and what that will actually add. Up to now, most of the combat has been them sort of showing off of the combat abilities, but some of the parkour in the combat I think looks really interesting, and Zip was one of those things. You can also use it to sort of swing like a whip like Indiana Jones, or grapple onto different surfaces. You probably have seen that more often than you've seen her use it in combat. The soar ability allows you to kick off surfaces to go up vertical heights. This is one of the ones that I think looks bad compared to the rest. I don't know why they even showed this in the trailer. I'm showing you the combat abilities here. She's basically like doing like little kicks and like slowly going up the sides of walls. It doesn't look all that great. I'm sure in a pinch it's probably nice if you need to get up, you know, a small ledge or get up the rest of the way. But to go far distances, I think looks a little tedious. Lastly, scale, and this is the one that interested me. You can create phantom footholds while you're fighting. So you just sort of jump and create a self-made platform. I think that actually looks really great for adding verticality within a boss fight. It's one of the things that they're putting into the game Wild Hearts, sort of the new Monhun game. That element of verticality, being able to sort of get up and above the battlefield and up and above the enemies, looks pretty cool. Now, they talk about how you need to combine this with all of your combat abilities. You've seen some of the combat abilities sort of rotated here in this video. Each magic type has attack, support, and parkour abilities, and they're represented by different colors. So they don't give you all of the details in this video. They outline some of the purple magic. You have a quick attack called Shot. You have Burst Shot, which is like clusters of explosive rocks. You have Shield Shot, which is a defensive barrier, and you can have it explode when you release it. Scatter Shot is a steady stream of rocks, and then there's like a high projectile, a high impact projectile at the end. There's also support cells like Prime. You can set traps on the ground. Screen creates a force field. Tendra looked kind of cool. It reminded me of the whip from the Guardian Knights in Elden Ring. It heals based on how much damage it does. She kind of whips in a big, large area. Then they quickly outline some of the things that Cuff can do. It'll take a hit if you don't successfully dodge. You can also use it to counterattack. You can scan areas for points of interest. You can scan enemies for strengths and weakness. Then Red Magic has things like Fusillade, Aegis, and Legion. Apparently these are strong defensive options. They didn't give any details. And then Red Magic also has strong melee attacks. Have you seen her been doing any like kicks and punches and flips in the middle of the fight? She's using Red Magic to do some of that. Then there's the Slice ability. You've seen her kind of swing the big red sword. There's an Arc Slice, Blast Slice, Rage Slice. You also have Charge and Bombardier, which are great for crowd control. They don't give any details about blue and green magic, but during all of this, you're actually doing something called Surge. You're like charging up your Surge ability, and then once fully charged, it allows you to do sort of an ultimate of sorts, and if something sort of gets stunned on the ground, you can do what is called a killer blow or a killing blow. And I actually think this looks better than stuff we've seen up to now. But I also feel like it's almost like a tech test vomit. There's so much that you can do. I worry about paralysis. Like, am I going to have way too many abilities? Are the abilities going to be sensible to the areas, the biomes, and the enemies? Or do I just have a ton of different things I can do with respect to the different magic abilities? And then within those magics, there's abilities, there's the different spells, the different support, and the different parkour. Is there going to be too much? I mean, let me know what you think in the comments below, because I've always approached games like this and been a little concerned you can get a little too broad and have no depth, or you can just get too broad and it frustrates the player and they experience decision paralysis. They don't quite know what to do, or there's too many options on the battlefield for it to feel meaningful. One of the things that the Forspoken previews outlined, some of the people that got to play very early, they said that the combat got very samey, but they were really excited about the prospect of there being so many different abilities for them to unlock. And I thought, okay, that could be really, really good, but it could also be really, really bad. You could end up with a game that's sort of a mile wide and an inch deep. Everything we've seen up to now with Forspoken has me concerned. Now, compounding that concern is we've recently heard rumors about performance issues of Forspoken on PC, and we've recently covered that with games like Plague Tale Requiem and Gotham Knights. Many were pointing to the consoles not being strong enough to run those games. Those games are just poorly optimized garbage. Like, there's potentially good experiences that can be had in those games, more I think on the side of Plague Tale Requiem, but they're optimized so poorly, they run so bad even on PC. So as soon as I hear a game is struggling to run on PC, I get immediately concerned. It's like, what did you do? Did you try to do new stuff with the engine, the lighting, the effects? Who knows? And there were elements of some of the gameplay that I saw in some of the trailers that thought, man, that's so many particle effects and numbers on screen. Kind of worried about how this thing is going to run on console when they're maybe trying to do too much. If it's running bad on PC, that's not a sure sign that it's going to run well when it finally releases. So again, let me know what you think in the comments below. As always, hit subscribe and the bell button. Check out Reforge Gaming. That's where you can catch me streaming live, and I'll see you in the next video. And I'll see the rest of you right now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. That word of detail to members: if you are currently paying for your own membership, you need to go to your perks page, or you need to use the upgrade command in chat and get off of base membership. Base membership is designed to basically be a trial membership for gifted members. So in December, we can start to create sort of a dividing line between full paid members and people who get gifteds. Guys, make sure you're going through your morning ritual. Smash the like button, and you don't want to be on top chat. You won't be able to see what everybody is saying. Thank you for a strong start to our Monday. We wanted to cover this because we've covered Forspoken a handful of times, and Forspoken gameplay looks like it could be in a bad place, and we're a little concerned. Everything we saw in these trailers, I think, looks good. I think it looks like it has tons of potential for variety, but I'm immediately concerned that, we're hearing it's running poorly on PC. And then when you look at the number of things they're letting you do, it might start to line up like they just did way too much. Astro Candy, thank you so much for renewing at 15 months. And you're at a full membership, so is Creature. So whenever you guys renew, you want to see it saying that. Thank you so much, Dre Power, for upgrading to full membership. It's $1 to upgrade, and it will enable us to create a bit of a dividing line. Like, when you're paying for your membership, I want to give you way more. When you get a gifted membership, I want you to get sort of a sample of everything we do, if that makes sense. Yo, good morning, Zubair. Creature says, I like Google's definition of 72 hours. Yeah, how long was that? That was like a full week, right? Who said it's running poorly on PC? We had a couple of people come in here and say that they were reading reports from testing or leaks. There were leaks saying that they were having performance issues on PC, is what I heard. Jay Murph upgraded to a full membership. Thank you so much, Jay Murph, for doing that. We need everybody to do that. We also made VIP membership cheaper. VIP is only $9.99 if you want to go up to there. I didn't want to make that the focal point, Eugene. I didn't put that like in the title or the thumbnail because I don't know if that's been vetted yet, but it's easy for me to believe it's struggling to perform on PC because I'm looking at the gameplay and I'm like, that's a lot of stuff going on. There's particle effects and everything going on. They didn't let people record their own like raw gameplay when they did their previews. So, yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Thank you for 15 months at Tier 2. Dan's Atastic. Not sure what's going on with membership. You're talking about I haven't been here for like a week. Barriers at 15 months and staying at a Tier 2. Danza, you can stay at Tier 2 if you want. We're encouraging people to do either a full or a VIP. And then if you want to spend extra money, then gift members. And we're hoping that gifted membership can start to feel like a trial. Like, hey, you just got a gifted membership. You'll get to try out some of the content. We want all paying members to be at a full membership or higher. We don't want anybody at the $5. That's designed for gifteds going forward. Yes, Ragnarok's almost here. We'll be covering that in our second show. Well, our second show will be part 1 of the recap. We're going to be doing a God of War story recap. So if you're interested, make sure you stick around for that. That's going to be a good time. I do think, though, looking at these trailers, looking at this content, I do think it looks better. Like my thumbnail states, you know, when I look at this, oh, hang on, we got the wrong cam and the wrong cap card. Oh, golly. I did a reaction video. That makes sense. I was like, why am I in the red circle? I didn't do much over the weekend. We had family pictures. We had lots of stuff going on. And it made it really, really difficult for me to get any work done. That's one of the reasons I was late this morning. I had nothing typed up. We had our day yesterday, we had like no time. I was home for maybe, I don't know, 2 hours. Train with 21 months. Welcome back in, Train. Thank you so much for doing it, Tier 2. Glad to be a member of this great community here for Lono. The content's a bonus. Thank you. A VIP renewal for Kratos. That's 3 months. This game looks good, but suspicious at the same time. I don't know what it is. Reminds me of Final Fantasy 15. That's what I'm saying. I don't know what it is. There's something beneath the surface. You know what I'm saying? There's something beneath the surface of this game that has me slightly concerned. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's like, again, it looks like a tech test vomit fest. It's like they just had all these fun things they wanted to do, and they're just kind of letting her do them all. They gave her a move set and an ability set that just sounds bonkers. Like, I don't even know if it's the world. I think it's the fact that, again, I worry that it's going to fall into that Just Cause. Have you ever played Just Cause? It's like you can just do whatever you want, and it eventually just starts to feel frivolous and pointless. Like there's no true challenge. You can just string together 85 different abilities and things to create massive explosions. You know what I'm saying? Yo, it's good, Reaper. Welcome back. 6 months. I'll update full member later this week. No worries, Reaper. No worries. We just want to make sure everybody does that before December. We want everybody to be on a full or a VIP membership. We made it very, very cheap to do that. Like we feel like we offer a lot of value, so I hate to use the word cheap, but I'll say affordable. We made it very affordable to upgrade. It's like it's $1 to get off of base. You know that you said that about a tech demo hits home. It's mindless, brainless. Yeah, it doesn't. It's hard to explain. Like, the first time I ever saw Horizon Zero Dawn, I immediately wanted to play it. And when I look at this, it just looks like I'm trying out different abilities and helping some company make a video game. You're thinking they lean too far into the player power fantasy, made a destruction sim? It feels like a combat parkour sim to me. Here, let me show you the part. I've got the parkour video as well, so we can kind of bounce between the two. Yeah, it's like a parkour combat sim. It's like you're kind of like doing both. You know what I'm saying? Here's the parkour video. Let me get it set up for you. There are elements to the parkour video that I find a little concerning as well. Some of her moves just don't seem that great. So here's the deep dive into the parkour. They, you know, again, they reiterate that she finds a cuff and she gets teleported to some other land. They want to make sure you know about that. My daughter, actually, I was preparing this morning downstairs on the couch, and she came down and wanted me to unlock her phone and put on her audiobook. And so she watched this trailer with me, and she got pretty excited, right? She got pretty excited. She was like, oh, that game looks cool. Can I play that? And she's like, oh, and she got excited when she saw that the main character was a girl. She got like really pumped. She's like, oh, is that a girl? And I was like, yeah. And so she thought it looks pretty cool, and she kind of wanted to play it. So, obviously, I have a vested interest in video games when, the lead character is a woman. I want it to be kind of awesome because, like, that's something that my daughter looks forward to. She gets more interested in the game, when the lead character is a girl. So, I want this game to be good. I want every game that decides to try something new or give us a brand new protagonist. So the shimmy ability, you're kind of like skipping along, almost like a skipping stone. You're like kicking off of everything. So this is the Forspoken gameplay video they released showing the different things. And then you see up in the corner there, she's doing a challenge. Use shimmy 50 times, and then she gets it, and then it goes in here, and then she can unlock more abilities or whatever. The UI looks a little less extreme. If you guys have been here for a while, we kind of criticized the fisheye elements of the UI. The UI feels really, really overbaked. This does look a little bit better. It doesn't look quite as extreme. That upper left-hand corner, it just makes it look like there's something wrong with my TV or my monitor. It's like, why is it warping itself? Yo, good morning. It's me, Bernie. I like their engines. That's the thing about new female protagonists. We overlook the fact that the future daughters will be gaming more. Right, and that's why I get in the corner of a game like this and I kind of cheer for it. I'm like, come on, kick some butt, be an awesome game. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West, I think, did a great job doing that. They just dropped an awesome game, awesome character. Nobody focuses on the fact that, like, oh, she's a woman. It's like, no, it's just a great game. You know what I mean? Tame Cyber with a $5 tip through Super Chat. Good morning, Lono's chat. How y'all doing? By the way, you know what this reminds me of? Saints Row 4, like random abilities. Yeah, it does have that Saints Row feel where you're just constantly flipping, flying around and doing stuff. And it can start to give you that mindless combat, sim feeling. Yeah, Celine is awesome in Returnal. Agreed. Senua is awesome in Hellblade. Yeah. Definitely. My son's been enjoying playing Jedi Fallen Order. Like, I put it on story mode. Yeah, this is the ability. So this is called Scale. And what she's doing is she's creating something that they refer to as a phantom platform. Is that what they called it? Hang on. I want to make sure I get this right. Where is it? Yeah, no, phantom foothold. Sorry, phantom foothold sounds way cooler. So she can create these phantom footholds in the middle of a fight. I want to rewind this. This is the one that I said looks a little goofy. So Soar lets you just like kick and go up. And that looks so tedious. You know what I'm saying? It looks real dumb. Now this right here looks kind of awesome. You're like in the middle of a fight and you put down a phantom foothold and you can get way up above the enemies. Then when you got something really, really big like this, and you know it's going to make a big swoop at you, she can get up and then kind of get out of the way, and then jump a second time to even increase the height. So I actually think that's one of the elements of these videos that got me the most excited was, okay, if I can get myself set up with a dope arsenal of parkour abilities and combat abilities, that could make the boss fights really, really fun. Some of the combat with I'll go to the combat video now. So this is a different video. Some of the combat looked like really throwaway, just like constantly spraying stuff at like trash, mobs. But then some of the boss fights look actually quite epic. You know what I mean? Guys, do me a favor, and if you're just tuning in for the day, go through your morning ritual. I would love to see 200 likes on this video. I think we're going to have a really strong week, obviously, with Ragnarok. My birthday is in 2 days on the day that Ragnarok releases, so I'm friggin' pumped. And we're kicking the day and the week off with some Forspoken gameplay that I think looks quite a bit better than what we've seen thus far. A 15-month renewal of John Always, and he's at a full membership. I'm freaking seeing full members. That's right, guys. Make sure type !upgrade in the chat. That way you can make sure your membership is at a full or VIP status. You don't want to be at a base membership unless you're gifted. If you're a gifted membership, base membership is designed to be like a trial. We won't start that until December. You have plenty of time to upgrade your membership. Are they talking about performance modes or anything like that yet? No, they've not gone into detail about the Forspoken graphics or performance modes. We're hearing rumors and whispers that it's struggling to perform well on PC, which is obviously a little concerning after we had Plague Tale Requiem and we had Gotham Knights struggle to perform well on PC. Right? Yeah, we know a whole lot about the story. Yeah, we know a ton about the story, actually. Yeah, here's one of her abilities where she can, like, leave a trap. I've always found abilities like that to be kind of lame. I think in a boss fight it might be kind of cool. Yeah, there's Tendril. That's the one that reminded me of, like, the big whip tail attack in Elden Ring from, like, the Guardian... No, they're not Guardian Knights. Sorry, Crucible Knights. I said their name wrong. Doesn't look like you should have any performance issues. It looks mid. I don't think it looks like some crazy next-gen title that'll have performance issues, but I'll tell you what makes me worry about performance issues. It's all of the constant flashing particle effects. Everything is heavily animated at perfectly on time. You see what I'm talking about? The shield thing is crazy animated, then look at that. There's so many particle effects. It's like... Is this thing going to run like absolute trash? Like, it makes me worried. It really does. It's like there's a lot of stuff going on in every second of the game. When they showed Sonic on PC a couple months back, the FPS looked bad. I didn't see that. I didn't check that out. Looks current gen for a Square Enix game. That's JRPGs, bro. Particle effects everywhere. That's what I'm trying to say. Well, yeah, particle effects everywhere and numbers everywhere. I've played and looked at a handful of JRPG games. I don't think they always do the overabundance of particle effects. They like to do crazy flamboyant attacks with lots of numbers. That's typically, what I've noticed as a trend. I hope motion blur can be turned off way too much. I could not get a single good screenshot from these YouTube videos because it's constantly being motion blurred. You know what I mean? Some video game trailers upload gameplay, and you can get some really great screenshots from them. I couldn't get a single one from this. It's just constantly kind of blurry and fuzzy looking, Guys, keep smashing the like button. Keep making sure that you're on live chat. Go ahead and chime in the chat. Where's your interest level for Forspoken? Let us know what you think. Excuse me. If you've never been here before... All you need to do to talk in my chat is subscribe. Hey, first coffee order of the day from Silent Warrior, getting stocked up on dark roast. He bought 5 bags of dark roast. You are amazing. Our short is just absolutely cooking this morning. Man, oh man, that is fun to see. That is super, super fun to see. Just absolutely booming. Hang on, this guy needs to just, we'll just hide him on the channel. There are people that just mauling over my there are still people just mauling over my Dead Space video and my frickin' Gotham Knights videos. You know what I'm saying? They definitely don't. It's like a Persona 5. I can't stand that username. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of hype around this game. I think it'll be DOA on release. I don't think it'll be DOA on release. I think it'll actually do okay. I'm not worried about the lack of hype. So that's the combat trailer, and then this is the parkour trailer. So they show all the different parkour abilities that you can get. Wait, what did he say? Definitely troll months. Oh, yeah. Morning, Lono in chat. Yo, what's good, Texas? Probably someone on there. Alt. Yeah, you know what? I tell you what. I don't like having somebody here with that username and a badge. I know you got a gifted, but I don't know. I just don't. I just immediately feel like way too chatty. Way too chatty. Never seen them before. They're in here with a gifted, just constantly talking. I anticipate a tweet from the troll in, T-minus 5 minutes. Yo, Minch Tree coming in with 15 months. Thank you so much for being here for that long. Yeah, I couldn't tell what it was. 5 bags of dark roast. Our new king, says Zubair. Yeah, Zubair loves the dark roast. If you guys are just tuning in, we're checking out the Forspoken new gameplay, and this is the parkour trailer. This is the parkour trailer that we're looking at, and you'll see here, this right here again is probably the worst part of the whole video. Everything else looks awesome, but this looks tedious AF. I don't know anybody that would want to, 1, 2, 3, 4. It 4 jumps just to get up on that teeny little height. Now, I think that ability will be great to sort of complete the end of a traversal, right? If you can get to a point where you're almost to the ledge, you can use that ability to close the gap. Yeah, Xanatos, I just had a weird feeling about that guy. It was why he's being so chatty. It's he wanted me to probably say his name. Yo, good morning, Hex. Honestly, that's on the person playing in the trailer, though. Well, maybe they're just, but what do you mean person playing in the trailer, Christopher? This is an official trailer on the PlayStation channel. This isn't like an IGN demo. They put this together and put this on the PlayStation channel. I don't think that's on the player. Oh, yeah, someone's asking when Frickmas will be out. We will let you order it probably next week. I believe it's being roasted today. Bags are done, and the coffee is being put in the bag, roasted and put in the bags today. So, with the freight shipping and everything, we're going to let you guys start putting orders in, we think, next week. Is it just me or the world looks soulless? Yeah, I don't like hating on this game, but that is one of the things I've always said is that, it looks like they just sort of puked on the game. It's here's a bunch of trees, here's a bunch of abilities, here's a bunch of floating rocks. The first time I saw Horizon Zero Dawn, the game had a vibe. The environments, the animals, the Aloy, everything sort of felt connected, and this sort of feels you guys remember we were covering the camos in Modern Warfare, and we were this last camo literally looks like somebody clicked randomize, right? And in a game like this, it kind of feels like that. It's did somebody just push randomize to give a bunch of different buildings and biomes, and then the character just can flip around and do stuff? It feels more like a sandbox. It feels more like a sandbox than a video game, right? What kind of a roast is Merry Frickmas? The Frickmas blend is a medium roast, and we have all the flavor descriptions on Rageless. That's the old name. We have all of the flavor descriptions at reforgeroast.com. If you go to reforgeroast.com, you can see all of the flavor descriptions, and Frickmas is on there. Frickmas is not, you cannot order it yet. No, we'll probably be taking orders next week. If you guys want Frickmas and you're out of coffee, you should probably get some lighter dark roast to get you by. You're not going to have Frickmas like in your hands for still a couple of weeks, guys, because I also have the holidays coming up. Like, I'll be out of town for Thanksgiving, so. All right, watch this. Okay, so this right here interested me. She used her zip. So in the middle of a fight, right, this thing is charging at her. And she slows the game down and goes, okay, so she can go over to it like a grappling hook, or she can go over here. Now, the whole game is slowed down here. And then she, whoop, and gets out of the way. That interests me a little bit, because the tether up to this point sort of just felt like a grappling hook. But in this section here, it looks like it's going to be something that she can actively use in combat to get out of the way. Like that little dive there, and then she sees this one coming, and then she's like, well, let me just grab the ground and get out of the way. And this is typically how they've shown it being used, like grabbing onto whip locations and grapple locations to traverse and get to higher spots, right? Off topic, but does it benefit your channel if a member allows user experience research? I'm sure it does. Yeah, I'm sure it helps. Reminds me when the first Sonic video came out and it being just a big sandbox. Right. Guys, I need 200 likes on the video. We've got almost 400 people here. I cannot stand that we have to do that. I wish I could just do the talk show and never mention it, but if we don't mention it, we don't get them, which is its own version of annoying. But YouTube will also then not treat us well if we're getting a bad ratio, which is just equally as annoying. Like, why can't I just boot up and do a show? But we have to play the game. Yo, good morning, Christy Axix, how are you? Do you think open world games with intense traversal don't mix well, like Forspoken and Sonic? It seems tough to design and not look out of place. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, in most games where I'm in a big open space and I'm traversing, usually when you're traversing fast in a big open world, it's because they gave you this. So this is the combat. This is that we were just watching the parkour one, where they usually give you like a vehicle. So it's almost like Frey is the vehicle in Forspoken. You know what I mean? She can just go so crazy fast. She can skip, she can jump, she can parkour, she can tether. You know what I'm saying? This game has a lot of effects. It's slightly pretty, but I can see how it could be easily overwhelming at some point. Next to it says, I'm still murky on what an hour of narrative gameplay looks like in this game. Looks like fetch quests with the occasional boss for story reasons. You know what's funny is I think the boss fights look like the coolest part of the game. When she's just roaming around and doing traversal, she looks really awesome there. She's like, she wields back and just sort of takes command of that whole spot. Like, that actually looks pretty dope. I know she's got a bunch of people behind her, though. Just got to watch her. Watch her six. Yeah, Fusillade. They don't really show what Fusillade or what Aegis or what Legion can do. It looks like Legion, you can summon your own people. Did you see that? Yeah, she's got... Okay, so Fusillade's that. Aegis, like, heals her, it looks like. And then these guys are running with her and attacking the enemies. It looks like Legion, she can summon her own golem-like creatures to fight for her. Oh, and they also said red magic lets her do melee, so you're seeing some kicks and stuff here. So she can go up and about. That's actually pretty dope. I wonder how on the fly those dodges work, right? She looks like she's kind of mid-run there. She's running, and then bing, does a little tuck to get over it. No interest in this game, but always enjoy your videos. Enjoying you talk about games I would not normally not play. Thank you. I want this game to be good, says Hex. I do as well, because these are my favorite type of games. My favorite type of games are open world, third-person action-adventure games. Like, I just love them. I love seeing my character. I love being in, you know, combat situations where the enemies are just huge and awesome. I worry that I want to cover, like, listen, I do not mean this to sound like cliche gamer dude, but I just kind of want to cover her face up because she's not ugly. They made her pretty, but she looks like a generic character model when you're starting out to create a character. She literally looks like the starting character that they just didn't give her enough detail or emotion or personality or something. I'm sure that's what I'm sure they base that off of a real person, and that's totally fine. But to me, it's kind of like when, if you've ever done any stage acting, they make you put on stage makeup so that your face looks more detailed underneath the stage lighting, right? I feel like they didn't video gamify her face enough. It just looks like a normal, you know what I'm saying? She just got like a normal face. She's just kind of like walking around like, yeah, you might see her waiting, you know, in line at the store. But she doesn't look like a hero. She doesn't look like a video game character, right? She's very real. She's the lead in Resident Evil. Yeah, and I'm sure in real life, like I said, I think she's very pretty. She's a pretty person. It's not about her not being attractive. I just kind of want to put a big helmet on her and make her look awesome and not like, you know, somebody I would go have a drink with. You know what I'm saying? Like, Aloy doesn't look like just some normal person you'd walk by on the street. She looks like something from the world that she's in, which I guess that's what they're going for. What's good, Oscar? Good to see you. I think you ordered some coffee this morning before I was even live, Oscar. I guess that's what they're going for, because she gets ripped out of New York. So is she supposed to be, like, just super normal looking? Like, I guess that's their goal. How often are the episodes getting released for Ceasefire? Every week on Saturday, Ceasefire will get episodes. If you guys missed the announcement and you want to hear me talk about serious stuff, you can go to ceasefirepodcast.com. We didn't get a ton of patrons yet because it's just the first episode of like, hey, this is why we're doing the show. So we'd love to see a bunch of patrons for future episodes. That effect is so weird. Yeah, the texture gets really bad there. So everything looks great. But from the center of the explosion, this stuff coming out, it ends up looking so pixelated. See? Look how low res that looks. It's like jagged. That was like Nintendo graphics. You can literally see the squares. It looked like Tetris pieces. Maybe it's supposed to look like that. That could be the effect. It's like digitized. That literally looks like Tetris pieces. It might be that effect. Maybe it's supposed to be like a digitizing effect or something. It didn't look like a mistake. It looked like it was on purpose. Looks good, but how does the combat feel? Right. Did you by chance take that shot on Friday night's video? No, people didn't do. We didn't get enough. I'm not a cheap date, so I didn't end up taking the shot. She's from a different world, so she's supposed to look completely different. Right, but can't you achieve that other ways, Christopher? Because, like, Aloy looks like a human, but she also looks like a video game character. And she looks different from the other people. You know what I mean? Yes, I'll be playing God of War Ragnarok live, and today we will be doing a story recap, part 1. It'll be about a 2.5 hour long stream. We're going to be watching a full-on recap of the story, and it's about a 5-hour experience, so yeah. $70 shouldn't get you Nintendo graphics. Well, I don't think that one freeze frame is an indictment of the game's graphics. I mean, look at the rest of this. Everything looks, I think, really, really good. It does look like the animations are going pixelated, though, on her feet and stuff, like the yellow and all that. It looks like, yeah, it looks real weird. I can't quite put my finger on what they're doing. You see how she looks disconnected from the game right there? Look how jagged she is. Look how jagged the lines around her are. Everything feels very squared off, pixelated. It looks like they applied a filter in Photoshop to her, and they turned her into, they're trying to make her look and then all of a sudden she's back to not looking like that. That's such a weird effect they're applying. And now it's back on, and she looks like, yeah, the lighting effects look so like, I don't know. They look so awkward. And the animations are so over. Look, see right here, this is why I'm concerned about the game's performance. Look at how bad the frames are. Like the frame by frame, it's like there's so many jagged edges and blurriness to it. You know what I mean? Is that going to make it run poorly? Or is it a stylization that they're going for? Is it supposed to look like digitized, techno-y new wave? Missed and watched your Monday stream over the weekend, and the shirt you were wearing was so cool. I had to get one for myself. Grabbed a couple of space all over prints. Oh, thank you very much, Sorcerer. They were so pleased with our performance. They were so pleased with our performance that they're wanting to work with me again into the AM. Right now, here, let me pause this. Let me go full screen. If you like my Deadpool Christmas shirt, let's do this. He says, I'm on the naughty list. This is from 80s Tees, and the shirt command will take you to their Christmas collection. If you want to get some t-shirts in time for Christmas, now's a great time to order them early November. Use my code to get 30% off. I don't think it'll be a huge flop. It'll do all right. Yeah, I don't think this game's going to be a huge flop, but I definitely don't think this is like the next Horizon. You know what I'm saying? This isn't the next Horizon. This isn't going to be some crazy successful action adventure game. It's also not a first party title. It's a timed exclusive on PlayStation, so it'll eventually be everywhere. It's like a magic trick, lots of distractions to hide the trick. Right. They probably do that to increase the frame rate. They reduce some of the resolutions of the animations. Narwaffle, that's a really good theory as to what's going on, and that might be why a lot of the magic effects look so pixelated. They're rendering the animations at a lower resolution than the game, and so they look almost like digitized. The rating for this game will be around 6 or 7 out of 10. Yeah, I think this is probably going to be about a solid 7, which I think is probably good for their first showing. Like, it's not the developer's first game, but it's their first showing. Like, it's this IP's first showing. You know what I'm saying? I think that's pretty good. Yo, good morning, Anthony A. Once this hits PC at a discount, I'll play it. I don't know why she's doing that backflip, though. It doesn't make sense. Just jumping over stuff here. So can she use that tether on... Yeah, she can use that tether on any surface. I thought she could only use that tether when there was a grab point. Yeah, she can just grab walls with it. I kind of like that. If you guys are just tuning in, we're checking out the Forspoken new gameplay. There's 2 different trailers. This one is about parkour and all the different abilities she will have. Frey is her name, traversing the world here with glide, basically an ice surfboard. And then there's another video about the combat. We're kind of watching both videos over and over, looking for different things that we like or dislike. This was my favorite part, using the grapple actively in combat to get out of the way. I actually think that's a cool feature because a lot of the times in combat in these games, it's difficult to create space when the enemies are so dadgum big. And I really like that they give her 2 different abilities that we've seen so far that allow her to make space. If I could move that nimbly, I'd be backflipping everywhere. Accident was confirmed 60 FPS. I love Game Pass Ultimate. I've been subbed for it for a few days. It has every EA Play game and games with gold. Okay. I'm happy for you. Why? That's random. Yo, good morning. Anthony A. I already said that. I'm looking at anybody else in chat. Guys, make sure you come in and go through the ritual. Don't be on top chat. You can't see what everybody's saying if you're on top chat. So switch to live chat and then go ahead and hit that like button. Yeah, right there again, you can see, I think Narwaffle's right. Like, look at how low, look at that. No, you can see it. It's an effect that they're doing. You can see literal squares right here. You can actually see them. It's something that they're doing in the rendering and the display of the red magic. There are literal outline squares in the frame. Let me see if I can get them bigger. Yep, even more here. You can see them beneath my camera. You can see them right here on the edge of my camera. Here, I'll just get myself out of the way. Hang on, let me just go to the other side here. Look at the squares. So this is probably the mix of an artistic decision, as well as they're doing something with these animations I think they're at a lower resolution than the rest of the game. I do. If you look at the rest of the fire effect, it's like they literally built it out of Tetris pieces. Like, look down here in the corner. I'm not saying to look at the actual squares. I mean, literally look at this corner that I'm circling. That looks like pixel art. That literally looks like, because pixel games are amazing. Some of the pixel games do flames and fires really, really well. Golly. It's probably on purpose. Yeah, I think it's on purpose. I think they're achieving two things here. I think they are achieving a probably smoother animation, so this doesn't cause any jittering. I do really worry about the method that they used here. Creature, are you seeing what I'm seeing? I'm seeing Photoshop repeating patterns. Like, you can see it right in here where I move my mouse. You can see it right in here, and you can see it right in this section here. I am 100% seeing an auto-generated repeating pattern. You can, if you're familiar with Photoshop, you'll catch those. You'll catch those. You can see. It's like your eyes almost trained to see them. It's not that it looks bad. All through edges are repeaters. Yeah. See, even here you can see they're not going for squares anymore, but you can definitely tell that animation is at a lower resolution than the rest of the game. All right, because let's watch it in full swing here. Watch. So see her. You see what I'm saying? Look at the wolves before she gets started. So everything that you can see, the blades of grass in the front are a little like jagged, but that's because you're zoomed in on them. I think every game looks like that. But if you look at the wolves and their hair texture, you can see the game is running at a particularly, I would say a good resolution, right? Good resolution. But then once you're in the animation, it's operating at a smooth frames per second. Like the FPS of the animation looks very good. See how many frames there are? It looks really dope, but they are lowering the resolution of the animations and the particle effects, which is why it has an almost a jagged, slightly blurry effect whenever she's doing something. It all looks a little different. It looks a little strange, but that's how they're going to achieve. I think that's how they're going to achieve, like what Cliff's saying. That's how they're going to achieve 60 FPS. And it makes sense, right? If you got all this stuff flipping, flying, and exploding on the screen, you can't have the game running like sludge. That would not be good. Nobody would want to play the game if it was running that poorly. You want to be able to, move around with a reasonable amount of fluidity in the game. Doesn't seem to be 60 FPS in the previews, but let's hope this is an old build. I'm pretty sure all the footage we're watching here is 60 FPS. You can tell when you look at the animations of her cape and stuff that it's not 30. I actually think there's something really impressive in this sequence that most people are going to overlook. I want you to watch the plant life in relation to her. Right? Watch the plant life in relation to her. You see that? The flower displacement is actually really good. That looks real. Usually when you walk through stuff like that, it doesn't really react all that well. But like they're moving in conjunction with her, and then some of them are even bouncing back. Yeah, they're like flipping back into place, almost ragdoll-esque. That's actually quite good. Yeah, that looks really good. Obviously that's a small thing, but and that doesn't change the game. But I like to point out the good and the bad, and I think that looked really, really clean, which you can kind of see the effect there. She slams the ground, and you can see the grass next to her. The grass next to her is going to move sort of back in response to the blast. Right, watch. See? Yeah, the foliage, I think the foliage reacts in a really good way. It makes it feel like you're actually, moving around in the world and doing cool stuff. Oh, there's an article here. Forspoken's going to have performance, graphics, and ray tracing mode. Okay. Is Tier 2 now full membership? Yeah, Tier 2 is now VIP. I think her mobility and speed will disguise those animations to 90% of the players. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a big deal. I want you guys to be clear about something. I'm just pointing out how they achieve the fluidity. Because right here, I think this looks awesome. No criticism from me at all. That looks dope. I don't have any problem with that animation at all. However, if we break this down and we do a freeze frame of it and we look at how they're achieving the level of fluidity that they are, and you really look with a critical eye at these explosions are lower resolution. You can literally see the squares. Everything looks almost digitized. They're at a lower resolution than the rest of the game. And I think that's okay as long as it doesn't look bad, which I argue it looks fine. It's noticeable to the trained eye, but it's not bad. Because you look, they're slowing that down. In the game, that's not going to be happening. Like, you're not going to be able to look and count the pixels. It's going to be fast a lot of the times. Hang on a second. Okay, cool. Also how RTX will probably work. The reflections will be lower res to maintain the FPS. It's like Ghost of Tsushima. I would say this has graphical fidelity slightly beyond Tsushima. Like, not much, but they are doing things that I wouldn't say are present in Ghost of Tsushima, because Ghost of Tsushima is an older game. I think Ghost of Tsushima is beautiful, but I think this game's doing some new things. So this is one of the things your cuff can do. It can scan, bosses, and give you. What all did it outline here? Let's see. So it's immune to 4 different things: tangled, imprisoned, confused, stopped. So none of those things are gonna help you. Now it says Sila's magic and Frey's magic. Wait. Somebody explain this to me. Why is there 2 different magic types listed? Sila's and Frey's magic? So it looks like Frey's magic is weak on this, but Sila's magic is strong. Is that like a separate tree that you're going to be investing in? Is that English? That's the altered. It says altered quincana. Yeah, the text is so. I don't get this. Like, you see this stylized here. I think this looks fine. I know it's on an axis. I know it's like on a 3D thing. But why in the bleep? Why is this like that? Look at that. Why are those words like that? These down here look fine. They're readable. That looks like a disaster. Certainly don't see creatures like that every day. I get the feeling, yeah, that's all it says. Might be like Mega Man. I don't know what this game is, but it looks fun. Oh, it definitely looks fun. Yeah, you can really... they were really, really slick with it, too. So the pixelization and, like, the digitized feel of the animations, it's hard to pick up on, because look how many layers there are to the animation. Look how many things are flying up. It's actually, you know what? It's kind of creative how they've done it. I'm actually kind of thinking they did something cool at a base level. The way they've layered the animations, you don't really notice it. You've got to really be looking for it. Obviously, we're freezing it. Did you pre-order? No, I've not pre-ordered. This is a timed exclusive on PlayStation, is it not? Isn't it like a year of exclusivity? Yeah. That looked so good, but you can totally see. Yep. Every animation, every explosion, everything falling and flying out of the explosion is rendered at a much lower resolution. This is a great shot to show how Forspoken's going to give you fluidity and performance. You can see the particles around her are being rendered at a much lower block-like resolution compared to the world and the grass and everything else. This is not a criticism. It's just an analyzation of how they're going to achieve graphical fluidity in this game. Action JRPG fanboy, I'll be picking this up on release date. Isn't on Epic too. PlayStation exclusivity deal is longer than usual. So it's a console exclusive. You will be able to play this on PC, but it's a console exclusive. How long is it? Is it like 2 years? If you're just tuning in, we're checking out the Forspoken gameplay that released. We're kind of breaking down the different frames and the different aspects. This is the combat video. There's another video about parkour we've been watching as well. According to an article about the timed exclusivity, it says one piece of the marketing material for the game has seemingly been revealed in the small print that it's set to be a PS5 exclusive for at least 2 years, even though Sony has developed a slight reputation for messing up its adverts as of late. As demonstrated by the God of War Ragnarok, it suggests the fine print. Evidence suggests that the fine print is accurate on this occasion. So apparently, at least 2 years. At least 2 years. I doubt Xbox ever sees it. So you think that yeah, I mean, 2 years later, who the frick cares? I mean, unless they have some kind of like an anniversary edition that they can release. You know, I don't even know. This guy said, not on PC, not relevant. Lol, K, it's PS5. Thought we all knew that. Listen to the haters. You'll hear it's just a PS4 game. I'm just going to reply to just like 2 comments just very quickly. There we go. Game looks dope. That's silly. Better be incredible for anyone on Xbox to care. Yeah, I'll be straight up honest with you. I don't like that kind of timed exclusivity. Like, if this game is awesome and people end up loving it, I mean, I don't know. Maybe they could have looked at market research and just said, listen, it's too much like a JRPG. It won't do well on a Western platform. I don't know. Could we get 50 more likes on this video? Could we get 300 likes? There's so many people here. Thanks for tuning in and enjoying the show. Let me know what you think in the Let me know what you think in the comments below if you're watching the VOD. Let me know what you think in chat. If you're ever watching a past broadcast, you can help us hit those like milestones as well. It helps out the video. Welcome on in. I'm a Safe for Work broadcaster. If you've never been here, welcome to Reforge Gaming. We will be doing a member stream and then another stream today doing a recap of God of War story. We'll be doing that as a 2-part series today and tomorrow. Excited to do that with you guys. This doesn't look like the type of game to be on Xbox. Yeah, I wonder if the JRPG, elements. That shield looks so dope. This is the one part of the game that feels like it has an identity because she's kind of in the woods and she's sort of fighting more traditional looking animals. But then you get into these sections and I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm watching. You know what I mean? The identity of the game is a bit of a mismatch. It's a bit of a mismatch. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Appreciate all of the new folks we've been meeting with our daily live streams. Not enough testosterone for Xbox. That's right. I feel like Square and PS have that relationship that most people who play in the West or Japan would play on PlayStation. I mean, again, yeah, their own market research could have drove them to do this. They could be like, listen, it doesn't make much sense. It just doesn't make much sense to put it over there. At least not initially, because of And again, doing it 2 years later, I tend to agree with Eugene on this one. I think that, yeah, you're not gonna see a ton of people, you know. You're not going to see a ton of people caring about this game in 2 years to the point that there'd be enough demand to kick it to kick it to Xbox. Especially if they have to port it. Like, if it's not been designed for the Xbox, that means they'd have to port it. Sony loves exclusivity. It's 2 years confirmed. Yeah, there's multiple articles about this that apparently in the fine print, Forspoken PlayStation exclusivity is going to run for 2 years. Yeah, which is such a weird thing. Like, that honestly really is weird. Look like your video said available on PC, but not other consoles until Jan of 2025. Yeah, when this gets to the end, we'll pause it and we'll show you. These are brand new videos, so we're not watching old videos. So these are brand new. We'll take a look. That's what everyone said about Persona 5. Now the Xboxers are eating it up. Yeah, for sure, Scotty B. But Persona 5's in another category, is it not? It's in a very different category of popularity, I would think. I'm not denying the possibility, and the Persona 5 situation certainly shows that something can come to Xbox and be, you know, really, really well received. I just don't think this game will be that game. Guys, we've been streaming for exactly 1 hour, and YouTube is always like, hey, now would be a great time to run advertisements. We don't do that. We ask you to support the stream with membership, super chats. So consider clicking the join button, hit the $ at the bottom of the chat. Make sure if you do a brand new membership, you pick full or VIP. The base membership at $5 is designed for gifted members only. So if you currently have your own membership, you can type !upgrade in the chat and upgrade to either a full or VIP membership. Be sure to do that before December. You could also gift members to others if you want to give them a sampling of what we do here. Yeah, this will be day one PC. The Forspoken release date, it's gonna hit PC day one. It's a console exclusive, so it won't hit Xbox for 2 years, and it may just not hit it at all. Yeah, go full, chat. We always say never go full, but when it comes to, you see what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? Like, oh, that's so awesome, and then she just, I'm telling you, they didn't do her justice. She's a beautiful woman. She is. She's got great symmetry on her face. She's got very full features, like her eyes and her jaw and her lips, but she just doesn't, she literally looks like an NPC of, here, design your character. You've just started. At the very least, I think hairstyles would have helped immensely. Like, she could look like this in the beginning, but when she gets here, you should be able to rock, like, really crazy dope hairstyles to make her look more like she's becoming part of the world, which would make her... I don't think she looks like a video game character is part of the problem, which, again, I think they're going for that. It's supposed to look like she literally got ripped out of New York and dropped in this place. So, it just always feels a little jarring. Okay, so somebody said... Find your fight January 24th. Okay. All right. So I'm not seeing pre-order digitally on PS5 to receive this stuff. Okay. Play has limits. PlayStation logo. Okay, let's go to the other video. Let's see if this video, this is the parkour video. I mean, considering the lack of Xbox first-party titles, games like this would do well on Xbox, but I've always enjoyed these types of games. It's frustrating it's assumed Xbox players won't like this. I don't think it's assumed, Apollyon. I think it's market research. It's not that you won't like it, it's that not enough of you would buy it. Does that make sense? No one's saying, oh, Xbox fans would dislike this game. I think what's being communicated is, or what we're presuming... is market research points to not enough sales. Not that there wouldn't be sales. You could go to a neighborhood of predominantly, I don't know, let's imagine you go to a neighborhood that's predominantly a certain, you know, people from a certain region of the world. Let's say they're from a part of the world that just doesn't consume beef. And you go to that neighborhood and you're trying to sell cheeseburgers. Well, market research would show you you're not going to get a lot of sales. You might get some, but you're not going to get a lot. And the Xbox market research might say, listen, there are some people who would buy JRPG style games on the Xbox, but not enough to warrant porting the game 2 years later. On Sony's just paying money to keep it off of Xbox, let's be honest. I mean, well, sure, Paul. That's what they're doing. But Square probably had no problem agreeing to that, given what they know about their games and where they trend and where they sell well. Does that make sense? It's one of those things where it's like Square probably didn't need a lot of convincing. You know? Oh man, what do we do? What do we do? Do we agree to this? No, they're probably like, you know what? You're right. Let's keep it on Sony for 2 years. It'll sell better there anyway. It also makes me wonder what kind of an ongoing content plan they have for it. Do you know? I mean, do you think the PlayStation exclusivity points to ongoing content for Forspoken? I think they already talked about Forspoken DLC, did they not? I could see them having a pretty decent amount of stuff planned, because if not, why would it matter? After an entire year, you know, why in the world would it matter if this game landed on other consoles? I don't see that being an issue. Talking about yourself. I just bait and troll people on shorts. I just do it. If you're just tuning in, we are enjoying some brand new footage of Forspoken gameplay. Oh, did it say it there at the end? I'll freeze it at the end. Apparently at the end of the video, it says something about exclusivity. At least that's what somebody said. If you're enjoying my breakdown, the discussion, the back and forth, smash that like button. We need 24 more likes for 300 likes. We usually get 300 likes in the first hour of the broadcast. We didn't do that today. We are slacking. We're slacking. When this video comes to an end, I'm going to freeze it at the end and see if it says something about that. Here's X dollars for an exclusivity period. Okay, no problem. That's close to what we projected in Xbox sales, and your money has zero risk. Exactly. I enjoy console exclusives, and I don't think it's anti-consumer when it's convenient like some. Some exclusives are necessary for a competitive marketplace, whether they're first, third party, or timed. Yeah, there are people that are just sort of like blanketedly against. Okay, so right there they were showing you stamina. There are people that are blanketedly against exclusives, and I think exclusives are good if they're done right. I don't think this one in particular is that controversial, but I do prefer exclusives like God of War and Spider-Man, where you can tell it's a studio that's being invested in to beef up the platform and not something else. Does that make sense? Okay, so down in the corner you can see those diamonds. That's her stamina, and as she uses abilities, this is a little concerning. Did she do one jump? Okay, so she's only missing one diamond right now. She does a jump and she loses a diamond. She does another jump and she loses a diamond. Okay. And then here they're going to show her, she's down to 2 diamonds, and oh, the diamonds just keep going as she floats. They did say that you'd have to master maintaining your stamina, which, I don't know, sometimes in these games I feel like the stamina thing is more trouble than it's worth. Why does everything need to be at an angle? It's a stylization, choice that they made. It's a stylized choice they made with the UI. I wonder if they're going to let you turn it off, you know? With 375 people here, we could easily get 16 more likes. If you guys are lurking and you enjoy the free content every day, bare minimum, we need likes. That's like the bare minimum. We do a lot of content here, and we're a scrappy channel, and we think that we give a great value every day, so we need y'all to do your part. Third-party timed exclusives been around since the days of the Atari and every subsequent generation, yet people act like Sony invented it. Yeah, I mean, I think Sony just probably did a little bit more of it in the last, I don't know, 10 years. But if you go back further, I mean, Xbox did it plenty. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where, what have you done for me lately, or what have you done to me lately? And I think that's the attitude. You go back 10 years and everybody was complaining about Xbox doing it. And now you fast forward 10 years and everyone's complaining about Sony doing it. We'd be doing a gameplay stream for Forspoken? Oh, for sure, when it comes out, yeah. I would love to start getting early access to games so we could record the gameplay in advance, so day of, we're already equipped and ready to go. You know what I mean? I would have killed for early access to God of War or games like this. It'd be super helpful. Nobody said Sony invented it, but they sure do love it. Rise of the Tomb Raider. Yeah, the Tomb Raider game on Xbox for a year was pretty irritating. It was. It really, really was. Just a couple more likes, guys. Stop making me beg for likes. You guys got to come in every day and just do that clickety-click. It'd be awesome if we got to a point of, like, me not having to say anything about it. It'd just be so dope. You think developing for the Series S factors into exclusivity? No. I don't think so. You know, you guys know me. I like to point at the Series S. Okay, here we go. Yep. This is a brand new video. So here's the answer to your question. Forspoken, PlayStation 5 console exclusive, asterisk, down at the bottom. Also available on PC, not available on other consoles until at least January 23rd, 2025. So there's the answer to your quandary. Has it been confirmed to be a 2-year console exclusive? Yes. A 2 to 3 day old video confirms it down there in the description. So that's kind of the end of the discussion in my mind, right? I mean, as far as console exclusivity, all right, let's take a look at the combat again, because there are aspects of the combat that I think are a little bit more exciting than the parkour. So they did 2 deep dive videos. They did 2. One was about the parkour, which we were just watching, and then this one is about the combat. I love exclusive games. It allows me to explore other platforms over time, thanks to which the gaming experience has never been boring to me. Hilton says, I'm glad Xbox PC are one and the same as far as games go. I'd love to own a PS5 for the at all, but I do for the exclusives. Oh, you'd love to not own a PS5 at all, but you do for the exclusives. I got you. Yeah. With a wait time like that for other consoles, there has to be numerous additions to the game, whether that be performance patches, DLC, etc. Right, why else would you make people wait 2 years? You know what I mean? Why would you wait that long? That is interesting to me. Like, if Sony is coming to the table and saying, we want Forspoken exclusivity for 2 years, like, my question would be why? There's got to be something behind that. More than just, we think it looks like a great game and we don't want it to be anywhere else. Like, unless they just see her as a strong character to throw on the front of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you got a great lead character here. We love single-player action-adventure games with strong leads to slap on the cover boxes and slap on the PlayStation 5 boxes, you know? She does kind of fit the bill for what a lot of people like to... For what people sort of look at PlayStation and that's what they think of, I think, a lot of the times. You know, you got you got God of War, you got Horizon, you know, you got these sort of central characters, and she kind of fits that bill, I guess. Again, it could just be something as simple as the JRPG angle that we sort of already outlined. He runs like Steven Seagal. How's that? I have a glimmer of hope this pleasantly surprises me once we start seeing proper narrative gameplay. These companies have 30 plus years of history, shared employees that grew up together, went to school together, etc. You can't discount that factor. Well, sure, Sony and Square definitely get along. Can a time exclusive deal be changed into a permanent exclusive? Is Xbox a party to the exclusivity deal, or can the dev and Sony change it unilaterally? Yeah, I don't know. Because they said at least. Almost like the phrasing at the end of the trailer is, yeah, it'll be only on this console for at least 2 years, which could mean, yeah, we may increase that as time goes on. If she can fit the bill to be put on the cover of things pertaining to PlayStation, I hope her base design evolves throughout the game. If you look at a lot of the press, I think they make her look really dope. She's got a great profile and a really good jawline. Those are things I always notice in a face. Both men and women, I pay compliments about that. So it's not something exclusive to women. I think having a very symmetrical face, I think having a very strong jawline usually is something that I notice. And they've got some great shots of her in the promotional materials. I think they make her look dope. It's just, once she's placed in the world, it looks a little funny. Because, again, it's an isekai game. So she's, like, ripped out of her world. And she's supposed to look slightly out of place. Oh, come on. Oh. I have a weak jawline, no shoulders, and balding. Poster child? Yeah, dude. There you go. Slap you on there. That was the first animation. So if you miss some of our breakdown, of the animations, this is not a criticism, by the way, but you're going to notice this animation has pieces and parts. Right here, you can see literal squares. They're doing some type of a digitization, pixelization effect. The actual animations are running at a lower resolution than the rest of the game. So if you look at the game before she does it, and then you look at the animation in the midst of everything, that compared is how they're more than likely achieving their fluid frames per second. So you can see the character in front of her. You can see the level of detail in the wings. Their legs, I think, are a really good indicator of the resolution of the game at the current moment. You can see the claw. You can see the skin texture and the lighting. But then, when the animation happens, the animation is running at a much lower resolution, almost like it's been put through some kind of like pixel art generator or something, pixel art animator. This is not a slam. It's merely an observation about how they're achieving graphical fluidity in this game, because there's so many effects and things going on. Those effects are often, as far as we can tell, rendered and animated at a lower resolution. No, this will not be on PS4, no. Yeah, like that shot of her right there, I think she looks dope there. Like, she's got a very good profile. Like, if you're really analyzing, like, when a person looks beautiful, and you sort of analyze what leads people to think that. She's got a strong profile. Her, like, I notice eyebrows. She's got very full eyebrows. She looks, not only does she look pretty, she looks strong. She looks like a strong person. So I actually think in the promotional materials, you can put her on stuff and she looks like a great lead character. Once she's in the game, it looks a little funny. It doesn't quite look as good as some of the promotional stuff. I also would like to see different hairstyles. You know, I think different hairstyles would help her look more as if she's been sort of contextualized into the world and game. We'll see if they decide to do that as you progress. You know, pre-order for the nails. Well, yeah, the nails are like, it's like there are games where you get tattoos and the tattoos give you abilities, and her nails give her abilities. We've been kind of pivoting between the combat video and the parkour video. It does not help gamers at all. Deathloop, Ghostwire, Godfall, Babylon's Fall, enough Sony. I mean, I don't think they're trying to help gamers. Why would that be their goal? Is that in their business strategy to help gamers? I think their business strategy is to establish their platform and make money. And keep in mind, I don't like it. I criticize the timed exclusivity stuff in Hogwarts, you know, missions and items that can only be gotten on the PlayStation platform. I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that. What are you doing for your birthday? I'll be playing God of War Ragnarok and telling people to use the wish list command to buy me Legos. I'll do dinner and stuff with my fam. They've already got, like, you know, presents and stuff for me. The kids are super excited. My son's got a present for me hidden in his closet. He keeps making sure, like, I don't look in there. It's kind of adorable. They're both very excited. They love my birthday. I think they like it maybe more than their own sometimes because they just get super pumped to give me stuff. They can barely contain it. Yeah, God of War Ragnarok literally comes out on my birthday. Couldn't have asked for, you know, a better present from the gaming community because I've been looking forward to that game for a very long time. The idea that any platform worries about non-customers is laughable. Yeah, like why would PlayStation care about, you know, oh no, Xbox users are going to be angry. Like, okay, who cares, you know? McDonald's doesn't shed any tears about Burger King's customer base. Her fingernails give her abilities. Well, you paint different patterns on her fingernails and it gives you different abilities. And it kind of makes sense because she's doing everything with her hands. She has a cuff on her wrist and everything she's doing, she's bringing it to life with her hands. So it kind of makes sense, honestly. Like, you know, it was like in the one Far Cry game, you got different tattoos on your arms and it gave you abilities. Kind of a similar idea in this game. You know, you get different paint on your nails and it lets you do stuff. Like, I know, like, gamer bros are going to have a real problem with that. Like, come on, bro. I don't want to be painting my fingernails in a game. It's like, apparently the people that are the strongest and the most masculine are also the most fragile, which is kind of intuitive and contradictory. But I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? It's like, paint my fingernails, toenails, put longer eyelashes on me. I don't give a frick. Does it make my character look awesome and be stronger? Cool. There was a guy literally putting tattoos on my arm in another video game, and it gave me abilities. Like, how bonkers is that? Like, think about what you do in a lot of video games. You put on, like, a belt, and that belt makes you stronger. Or, you know, you put on, like, a cloak. You know, you're literally running around with a dadgum cape on like a kid in his, you know, in his bedroom, you know, tucking a sheet into his shirt. Took the words right off my keyboard. I have to paint my nails. Yeah, but who cares? You also get a necklace. You know what I'm saying? How many video games, these three items right here, all right? How many video games have you played where you wear a cape like a child's fantasy dress-up game and a friggin' necklace, and those things give you abilities? Why are we getting so bent about some fingernail paint? You know what I'm saying? Come on. Come on. We're commonly playing dress-up in video games for powers. Like, don't sit here and pretend it's somehow like an insult to your masculinity. Here's the screen. Hang on. Here's the screen that confirms console exclusivity for 2 years for those curious. Oh, I don't care. Oh, yeah, I know you don't care. I'm just saying. It's video games. You can do anything. People already have set in their brand loyalty. A game is what makes people buy your stuff. If someone isn't buying your product already, ending third-party time exclusives won't change that. Yeah, for sure. Stupid Little Short is living on the shelf. Should we follow it with God of War Ragnarok highlight or hold it for tomorrow? I didn't want our highlight page creature to be too much God of War in a row. I figured we could run the one we had planned today and then run the God of War one tomorrow since tomorrow's release date. It's hard to know. I mean, maybe we could double dip given that tomorrow everybody's going to be looking for gameplay. And that video, our highlight might not do well tomorrow. Maybe it'll be like, who's looking for that? You know what I'm saying? It's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. It could crush tomorrow because Ragnarok releases tomorrow, or the highlight could be terrible tomorrow because we'll be ending gameplay session to go take a look at the highlight. They're both ready, just pick one? Okay. I'll do like rock, paper, scissors against myself or something and figure out what I want to do. If you're just tuning in for the latest Forspoken new gameplay, we've been looking at the parkour and the combat, and we're debating console exclusivity right now. And We appreciate it very, very much. I had that short link to the highlight too, just to see if a 10-minute video would benefit a little bit more from a short taking off than a live stream. I just want to kind of see, since we commonly can take, you know, shorts from the highlights as well. So just trying a little slight different move there. Sonic Frontiers review for tomorrow's show. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Oh no, tomorrow might be good for the God of War Ragnarok highlight because the game doesn't release tomorrow. What am I thinking? Tomorrow's day before. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, the 9th is Wednesday. I got confused. Yeah, tomorrow's the 8th. I get so used to Tuesday releases. Oh, the power is just from the bracelet. I didn't know about the nails. There's literally a whole menu system for her to paint her nails in. Like, you go in and customize them and change them and, you know, do everything else. It's dope. Like, I think it's fine. Don't get old, chat. You'll forget what day it is and when things happen. That's right. That's right. 25 hours away? No. 49 hours away, right? No, midnight. So 37 hours away? I don't freaking know the math. It's not 25 hours, though. 25 would be middle of the day tomorrow. What a beautiful game. Open world. Yeah, it's open world. Yeah. It's 37 hours. Yeah. Midnight Eastern tomorrow. Are they letting... I mean, they might let New Zealand in early. I don't know how that works. I'm not sure how that works. Gameplay for God of War Ragnarok will be out tomorrow for those people who got early access. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to have another embargo drop, but will they be able to release gameplay that they previously couldn't show? That'd be a good question. Yo, it's good, Nook. If the game does well, I doubt Xbox will ever see it. Fails to meet expectations, like most Square Enix games have been for them. Xbox will see the game 2 years. Sonic Frontiers is a big step forward because it shows us a version of 3D Sonic that will one day be good, but it's not good here. Technical issues, woeful level design, and zero personality means the way for a good... Okay, so, yeah, Skill Up's not giving it high praise. We could do a Sonic Frontiers review roundup tomorrow. Numbers are deceiving. Only 1.8 on the highlight, but it's making money. Oh, yeah, the highlight's doing great. I was very pleased with the highlight. I was very, very pleased with the highlight. You said 1.8. I'm seeing a 1.6. That means that the short might have funneled people to it already this morning, because I'm showing a 1.6. So the highlight might already be benefiting from the short. This game scares me, reminds me of another game that had cool abilities, cool looking movement, great effects, and that game was called Anthem. Yeah, I mean, I don't get worried about this game for the same reason I got worried about Anthem. Because Anthem, I'll tell you what, if Anthem would have been a single-player game where you just played through the 4 javelins and played through the story and played through the world and did a couple of endgame activities and that was a wrap, I think people would have treated it a lot differently. But they marketed it as like a live service ongoing game, like a looter. And that's why it got shredded. Because people got to the end game and nothing was there. Like, Anthem probably would have been better suited for just a regular old third-person action-adventure game instead of what they ended up pushing out, you know. So, I would say this game is in less danger of that being a problem. Like, oh no, there's no end game. I don't think you're supposed to be getting an end game in this game. You know? Now, there might be like a new game plus, and there might be like DLC. Because I definitely think that they have plans for something decent. I don't know why else you would secure the game for 2 years. So if you guys are just tuning in, we're checking out Forspoken new gameplay. And apparently the game's exclusivity is 2 years. It's confirmed at the end of one of these videos. I don't think it's this one. I think it's the other one. Yeah, so we'll watch the other one. This is the Magic Parkour video. So the Magic Parkour video is the one that confirms it will be a 2-year console exclusive. You can set it aside and I can do it myself. Yeah, that's fine, mama. With us doing members in the middle now, that actually works. Oh, you answered this. Is it confirmed to be exclusive? Yeah, the end of this trailer. I don't think I've ever seen a trailer with this language on it before. I don't think I've ever seen this. It even phrases it in a funny way. It says at least until 2025. So it could go even beyond that. Square Enix absolutely tanked the Avengers game by forcing it to be live service. It was a terrible mistake. Yeah, I mean, the Avengers game is another prime example. They could have made just an amazing action-adventure game and just gave you the ability to play as, like, 4 different characters. And then just one good, solid story. Maybe a handful of story arcs, you know. It's been at least 2 years since the reveal. Why do people obsess about endgame in single-player RPGs? The whole point of single-player is to experience a product that ends and then lets you go play another product. Well, I think people like the idea of an end game because if the game is really, really good, you kind of don't want it to end. That could come in a variety of ways. What if you just want to keep playing? What if you want to do New Game Plus? What if you want DLC? You know, what if you want to take your really, really robust character and how strong you made them? And what if you want to take them into like harder environments, harder bosses, harder content? Because I think one of the times that you sort of especially want to see endgame is in a game with really good power fantasy. Your character's way stronger than they were at the beginning. And you've got abilities, and you've got combos, and you've got things that you couldn't do when you first got into the game. And then, I don't know about you, but oftentimes, normal mode, you kind of snowball the game. You get to a point where you're so unbelievably strong that the end game sort of just like gets crushed beneath your power. Or not the end game, but like the final stages of the game. The final bosses, the final areas, you know, the final enemies. You just find yourself just sort of snowballing. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody then wants to play the game at hard. You kind of want the game to meet you where you're at. You know, you play through the game, you have a good time, you got every ability unlocked, or you got every area cleared. And then having some way to continue that experience, I think, is why a lot of people focus on endgame. And traditionally speaking, New Game Plus or Playthrough 2.0 or whatever you would call it, you know, I think that's traditionally what people expect from single-player games. And then some of these companies just got creative and came up with ways for you to continue to play. The unreadable disclaimer... depends on the partner. Some partners allow weird things in their contracts and give competitors more in general. Yeah, right there. There's the screenshot. So this is honestly, this is weird phrasing. Not available on other consoles until at least January 23rd, 2025. Like, I don't think I've ever seen an exclusivity claim or an exclusivity trailer stated in that way. That's kind of new. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a new thing. So it's like, it's hitting PlayStation 5 console exclusivity, it's hitting PC, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, it's not available on other consoles until at least January 23rd, 2025, which means it may never go anywhere else. It may 100% be PS5 for forever. And some of that, again, could be the Square relationship. Some of that could be the fact that, you know, they've looked at market research and they're like, yeah, games that sort of look and feel like a JRPG they won't fare all that well on the Western platforms, I don't think this game could run on the Nintendo Switch. I don't think it could run on the Nintendo Switch. So, you know, putting it on Xbox might not be worth it because you're dealing again with a potential demographic shift where they know porting the game to Xbox would not be lucrative enough to warrant it, especially a year later or 2 years later. Like, once you're in the exclusivity contract with Sony, it kind of changes the name of the game. I hate to do it, says Eugene, but when more than half of the Xbox is sold or Series S, it's going to be real easy to get devs to agree to 2-year exclusivity. Right, because if you're wanting to do a game like this, I mean, we've already looked at the animations and said it looks like they're really trying to maintain performance fluidity, and one of the ways they're doing it is by doing what I'm calling, I guess, pixelated animations. That's not a good one. We'll look at another one. So they're rendering what looks like the animations and the graphics for the animations at a lower resolution than the rest of the game to maintain the fluidity, because there's just so much going on the screen. We'll find a better one. Some of these ones aren't as good. They're harder to see. There's some really, really great ones. There's some great shots where it's very clear. And this is not a slam, by the way. I'm not slamming the game. Here's a good one. So if you look, the actual flame animation is rendered at a lower resolution than the rest of the game. And I believe this is being done on purpose. So you'll see literal squares. Now, you might have to do this later on your own to really get a look at it, to zoom in. So these sections here, you can actually see the squares that they're using. It's almost like really, really good pixel art. If you've played any really good pixel games, any good pixel animated games, there's a lot of great platformers and stuff out there like that, where, you know, the pixel art for the flames and the attacks and the animations just look really, really good. So you can see that's what they're doing here. Now, if they're doing that, what Eugene is saying is relevant. Like, if they're looking at the Series S and some of the challenges that devs have outlined with the Series S, they may be like, look, man, there's no way we can do all this stuff on that system. So I'm not saying, oh, yep, this is proof, Series S is weak, told you so. But you might start to see games saying that. Like, look, man, we cannot shut enough things off. You know, again, we don't know the PC min specs. No, we don't know the PC min specs, but you know, maybe once we have that information, we could do some speculation about just how much are they willing to turn off, just how much can they turn off in the game to allow it to underperform potentially on something like the Series S. The animation's insane. Yeah. You just also have to consider, the minute you're in a big open world like this with like foliage and particle effects and all these different moving NPCs and different AI units, you really have to wonder, you know, are they going to be able to get something like this to run? Even on weaker PCs, it might struggle. We've heard rumors that the game it's experiencing performance issues on PC. We've heard some rumors. Now, I'm not making a video about that. I'm not running with that as a headline or a thumbnail. I'm just adding that to the dialogue that, you know, we've heard some whispers that, foliage. The foliage. Yeah, that's a good shot to really showcase. We did this one earlier. So you can see right here, if you look at the grass and you look at Frey, the main character, you can see she is being rendered at a different resolution than the animations around her. You can see the blockiness. You can see the literal pixel-shaped, like square-like shapes. It's like they built the animation in, you know, Tetris or some kind of pixel art creator. And I'm not saying this is a slam. What I'm saying is, to me, that is an indication of optimization. They went in and said, if we do this with the animations, if we render at a lower res, if we go more of like a digitized, almost like pixelized version of the animations, we'll get better performance fluidity out of the game, you know? And I think that's fine. I don't see this as a bad thing. Look at the blob on the far left. Yeah, actually, that's a really, really good one to look at. Yeah, this one here. You can literally see the actual squares. And again, I'm not saying this is a slam. I'm just observing what's going on. Eugene says exclusivity deals always come down to, is it worth developing for the other platform, or is it better to take the exclusivity deal? And the Series S development struggles are now another factor in that. Oh, for sure. For sure. I do. I think that is a factor in the discussion. Now, does that mean, again, does that mean that my prediction comes to fruition and more games end up skipping the Series S? No, but you could see a lot of games agreeing to a 1 or a 2 year exclusivity deal, and then they just never make their way to Xbox. People just kind of forget about it. They're like, oh, yeah, that game just never came over here. You know, it just kind of stayed. It just kind of stayed off of the Xbox ecosystem. I disagree. Development build time is not based on worth it to make. Not sure what that means, but any and all development is built around money. Right, but if you have a built game and you're consider bringing it to a platform, you would measure the cost to bring it to that platform against potential sales. You would 100% do that. Like, imagine claiming that about bringing a game to the Nintendo Switch. Bringing a game to the Nintendo Switch has massive potential, commercial success because of the market saturation of the Nintendo Switch. But the work involved might be too arduous. It might be too much. It might simply be impossible. Imagine taking a game imagine a game that we've seen with just amazing, high fidelity graphics, and you need that fluidity of performance like Returnal. We know the game has next-gen particle movements. There's so many things on the screen. There's so many things going on. And then you also need that fluidity of FPS performance for the iframes and the combat. Well, given that reality, are you going to be able to take the time to port the game to the Switch? You might literally look at it and say, why would we bother doing that? Like Witcher, Skyrim on Switch, it's about money at the end of the day. Yes, and you're giving examples of games that are a lot older than games like this. You're actually ironically proving my point rather than your own point by pointing to super old games that arguably they barely get to, they don't run that incredibly well on the Switch. Now, Witcher got great reviews on Switch, so it must run well enough to satisfy that audience. But in general, the workflow involved there only increases when you go up to a game at this level of fidelity and new gen features. The calculus is always exclusivity deals better than the sales on the platform. Right, can we get more money from Sony than we would even get by selling our game over on the other platform? That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I don't know. I think games like Street Fighter 6 being released on PS5 and 4, but only on series consoles for Xbox says something. Wait, what do you mean only on... Rephrase that, Simple. I'm not sure what you're claiming about Street Fighter 6. This game was under contract with Sony years ago. Microsoft could have seen this back then and just said, no, thank you. We just don't know. I don't know about that, given that it's Sony and Square Enix. Their relationship's pretty well established. So I would hazard a guess that Xbox wasn't even given the opportunity to buy in or weigh in. They probably didn't even go to them. This was likely not shopped around. You know what I'm saying? Square and Sony have a pretty long-standing relationship that this likely was just something that Sony was happy to be a part of from moment one. When you have a piece of hardware that's more difficult to develop for, and you have to take a ton of time and stuff making it work on it, the calculus changes. Where's your proof of the Series S are about exclusivity deals? We're not proving it. We're speculating that it's part of the equation. We're speculating that it's part of the equation because you 100% could have companies saying, I'll give an example completely unrelated to the Series S. Hogwarts Legacy has release dates right now for all platforms except the Nintendo Switch. Why do you think that is? Well, they're probably dealing with optimization and porting struggles bringing it to the Nintendo Switch. So what that means is that the timing of a game's release on weaker platforms will have a hindrance on its release date. So let's just imagine that porting your game to Xbox means you have to, and I've had many people say this, and they don't understand that they're literally turning around and kicking the ball in their own goal. They're like, the Series S won't be a problem because you just develop for the lowest common denominator, and that's what companies will do. And I'm like, yeah, but what if they don't want to? Or what if they don't feel like their game can be developed for the lowest common denominator? So let's take what people are saying, which is generally true, that you would have to port the game down to the lowest common denominator. That means you take an established game that's built and runs fine on PC and PS5, and you're like, all right, let's port it to Xbox. That means your initial workflow is quite literally, we must port this game to the Series S. That's your first order of business. It's not porting it to the Series X, you're porting it to the Series S first, which means the initial porting workflow might be too much trouble. It's like, no, we're going to have to turn off too many features. We're going to have to rework the animation systems. We're going to have to literally have the game running at 30 FPS. Like, I'm not saying that would happen. I'm saying that's a possibility. Exactly. Square and Sony's relationship is about more than money. Square's not saying their future development strat's now global, but I digress. We're merely pointing that there could be a possible future where Sony approaches a game and says, listen, you've built your base slice, your vertical slice of the game for the PlayStation 5 and PC. I'll tell you what, we'll pay you for 2 years of exclusivity. And the company's like, you know what? That minimizes so much risk for us. Because if we were going to port it to Xbox, we were going to risk not getting enough sales to justify the port. And then you're going to see more and more timed exclusivity deals become sort of like ongoing limbo exclusivity deals. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying that's a possibility. Why would they need to port to the Series S? Why not just port to the Series X? Well, right. That's the question, isn't it, Zubair? That's the question. Would Microsoft even allow them to do that? The fundamental question in this debate that we don't know the answer to is, if Square said, hey, we'd love to bring our title over there, can we only port it to the Series X? Will you let us do that? There was one developer already who said this publicly, and then he went private on Twitter because I think he spoke out of turn. He said that developers are already asking Microsoft to skip the Series S. You need a source on that? A source on what? There is no source. Oh, you're talking to Eugene. Microsoft's apparently forcing all games to run on the S. Yeah, the only reason it's a question, like if we take that developer statement and we say, hey, we think what this guy said is true. Let's just say what he said is true for the sake of the discussion. If what that guy said is true, then that means companies are quite literally asking, hey, can we skip the S? Which means they're asking because they've been told up to now they can't. I think those are safe assumptions to make. Yeah, the source is private now. Yeah, he went private on Twitter, which again, to me, if he was just blowing smoke, right, he could have easily retracted or walked it back. He could have been like, listen, this is just something I've heard. None of this is confirmed. I was just speaking within the context of, the ongoing discussion. The fact that he went private on Twitter, I think, is more concerning than anything. It's like he basically was like, oops-a-daisy, I shouldn't have said anything. The little indie dev, that guy is a source of truth. I wonder why you think an indie dev invalidates the claim. Wouldn't an indie dev be more likely to speak out of turn, and a big dev would be more likely to stay quiet and not say anything? You know what I'm saying? Indie devs are making games right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Indie devs are making games that are likely going through this process right now. Hey, Microsoft, could we skip the S? We've got some things we want to do. It's not an indie dev. Yeah, I don't even know who he made games for. What's up with the sneaker? Oh, her wearing sneakers? Because she's from New York. She's not from this world, so she's just kind of wearing some of her original clothes. So if you're just tuning in, we're checking out the Forspoken new gameplay. We've analyzed and done a lot of breakdowns of Forspoken gameplay, and right now we're continuing to just let the content loop. There's 2 different videos, and we're just having a discussion about this game's exclusivity deal is very strange. Forspoken is a PS5 exclusive game for at least 2 years. That's literally the phrasing at the end of the video. The phrasing at the end of the video is at least until January 2025. Like, it won't be on other consoles at least till then. He wasn't a developer, he was a character artist. Yeah, that's called that's a developer. Speaking about a game he didn't work on. He walked back his statement and apologized before his Twitter went out. So he says he's heard that developers are asking to skip the Series S. Gets hate. I mean, look at the way y'all are responding. Immediately diminishing and dismissing. Just an indie dev, not a dev. Just an art this, just smells like copium. And then he gets attacked and then walks it back and goes private. So, in my experience, that's not the behavior of somebody who spoke out of turn and said something just completely made up. That's somebody who's like, oops, I shouldn't have said this. I'm now getting attacked. That's textbook hearsay, which is why I was very careful. I said, let's consider that, like, what he's saying is true. I'm not saying it is true. Consider if it is. Oh, and he was the second developer to say this. So 2 different developers say that they've been hearing other developers try to skip the S, and then they both go private on Twitter after saying it. So you think these developers all of a sudden were like, hey, I've got an idea. Let's start a campaign against a console for just no other reason than, I guess, entertainment, and then no other reason than, I guess, to get attacked and go private. Like, I'm having doubts that either of these gentlemen decided to, like, make offhanded remarks about the Series S as some sort of weird anti-Xbox campaign. Like, when you analyze their motivations, they were speaking in general about development and console constraints, and what console did they run to as being a potential problem? Argue the other side, interpret the gaps the other way. I'm not sure what you mean. I'm not sure what you mean, Zubair. Like, within the context of the discussion, they were talking about the constraints of these consoles, and they both said that they had heard devs were trying to skip Series S, and then they both deleted, walked back, or went private. That doesn't sound like somebody who's neither of the gentlemen. That doesn't sound like they're lying. It sounds like, oops, this is going to bring us a lot of heat. Microsoft's a big company. Let's just completely duck and cover. Let's duck and cover. They're behaving like a whistleblower is what they're behaving like. That's not a response to Twitter hate. That's an Xbox. That's Xbox DMing them and telling them they need to rescind or else. He literally said he was speculating. That's nothing factual. He didn't even work on the game he was speaking on in Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights was terribly optimized in general. Okay, but that's not what was stated. He wasn't speculating. At least one of them said he had heard. I don't remember the exact phrasing. I'm paraphrasing. It was like, I've heard from multiple devs that they're trying to skip the Series S. A bunch of us thought that devs would be able to skip the S, and now we're finding out that's potentially not the case. Yeah, because the interview that said that, where the guy said that, he was talking before the Series S had been announced. So they might not be letting people do it. He wasn't speculating about this point. I still haven't seen any proof that third-party devs are required to put games on the S. I'm not trying to substantiate that they are being forced. I'm just saying, if these 2 gentlemen told the truth, conditional statement, if these 2 gentlemen told the truth, and there are developers that are requesting, can we skip the Series S? The assumption would then therefore be that Microsoft says, we want you to develop games for both. That's our expectation. You don't need to request to skip the S if the expectation is you can develop for either one. Doesn't matter to us. Again, the conditional statement is if these guys are telling the truth, then the default expectation from Microsoft is that you develop for both platforms. I don't think that's an unfair assumption based off of their statements. Now, again, I don't know if they're telling the truth. I'm not saying they are telling the truth. He literally said he was speculating about Gotham Knights on the Series S. You're talking about a different developer. I'm talking about a guy who came out and said in a completely separate tweet, He said that he had heard from other companies and other devs that there were people trying to skip the S. This is a different developer. This is a different guy. The initial guy you're talking about referred to the Series S as a potato. And that guy said, well, I'm just speculating. Keep in mind, that's a guy working on video games, and that's his attitude toward the S. That should be concerning. You had two guys from ID Software come in and express concerns about the Series S. 2 years later, you have a developer. You can try to denounce him, talk down about him, and denigrate him and act like he's not qualified, but he called the Series S a potato. Like, I'm not trying to slam the S. I'm saying if you own a Series S and you just want to brush that off, I wouldn't be able to do that. If I owned a Series S, I would be concerned. I'd be like, why would a developer be saying that? Yo, what's good, Abe? What's good, Sven? Good morning. If you guys are just tuning in and you're enjoying the breakdown of the Forspoken new gameplay, could we get 50 more likes on this video? If you're lurking, listening, and enjoying the content, do me a favor. Smash that like button and smash that subscribe button. Would love to get a bunch of new subscribers today with this coverage. We'll be doing something fun here in a little bit with a completely different game. The guy worked on a game that could work on a Game Boy Advance. Yeah, see? It just... When you want to attack the person instead of what they said, I think that's very telling. Instead of entertaining it as a potential reality, it's immediate dismissal and denouncement. That just feels like insecurity and fear to me. If Microsoft is forcing development for the S, and development for the S is causing issues, and even everything we know about exclusivity deals and why they happen, why is it so hard to accept that development issues for the S are now part of the calculus and determine whether a game goes console exclusive or not? What's controversial or not grounded in reality in that statement? Right. It's only damning if you already believe that the Series S is a potato. If you're still undecided... It's just one data point. That's my pushback. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm not saying that this one statement is compelling. I'm saying if you are attempting to... If you're doing a fact-finding investigation into the strength of the Series S, you've got a lot of things that should be setting off alarm bells. It's not conclusive. It's not compelling by itself. Everything added up, I think, starts to become compelling. MJ with a 15-month membership. I won't be able to upgrade for 8 more months due to my country change. I'll definitely miss the member streams. There's nothing I can do for you, MJ. I hate that. Hopefully we can get targeted memberships in December and someone can take care of you every month and just give you a full membership. Akuta Papa with a 15-month membership. It's a VIP. Thank you, Akuta Papa. If the development expectation is for both consoles, why not give a graphics menu like on PC? You could then optimize your game for stuff. 30 to 60 for single player, 60 to 120 for multiplayer. Well, sure, but again, I don't know if companies are going to want to do that. Okay, somebody might be wondering why we're talking about the Series S in a Forspoken gameplay stream. We should easily have 400 likes, by the way. Some of y'all need to help out. If you've been lurking and listening and haven't done that, just make that a part of your daily ritual. You can minimize chat on mobile and then smash the thumbs up button. So the reason we're talking about the Series S is that Forspoken exclusivity is kind of weird. It's going to be exclusive to the PlayStation 5 console, and in the trailer, the one that we're watching right now, I believe, or it's the other one, they're like 2 or 3 days old. They literally say it will be exclusive to PS5 at least until January 23rd of 2025. At least. Okay. So, we're speculating as to why that might be. Now, some people speculated that, well, you know, Microsoft's Western-based console, Square Enix and Sony have a long history, and this game is very JRPG influenced. The cost of porting it might not be worth the number of sales they would get. It's not that it wouldn't sell on Xbox, it's that it wouldn't sell enough. Ryan, thank you so much for 15 months renewal and for doing a tier 2 membership. We are asking all members. I'm going to type !upgrade in the chat, and I need all paying members. If you haven't done so already, click the link and upgrade to a base membership. It's $1 extra, and we need you to do that before December. We made VIP cheaper as well. It's only $9.99. So then we started speculating that porting the game over to the Series S could be challenging enough to make them say, let's just go exclusive with Sony for 2 years. It's more guaranteed money, and we don't have to try to port the game for the weakest console on the market. There could be things in this game that are just challenging to do on a weaker console. I still can't wrap my head around a 2-year exclusivity for a game like this. Not any good reason, at least. Unless they've got like maybe a robust ongoing content plan, and they want to make sure it's all on Sony. I don't know. YouTube quality is butts right now. Stream is set to 1080-60 and it's struggling to actually do that. Well, these trailers don't look that great on YouTube with compression. There's a lot of blurring effect and pixelization that happens. If you're just tuning in, we've been covering Forspoken new gameplay. There was 2 new trailers of Forspoken gameplay that we've been breaking down and analyzing. And we would love to hear what you think, so make sure and hit the subscribe button if you have not already. And do me a favor, smash the like button as well. Go through that ritual. They took guaranteed money on Final Fantasy VII, even when the One X was more powerful than the PS4 Pro. So clearly it's just more of a money in general than porting compatibility on specs. But the porting compatibility on specs could be part of the equation, is all we're saying. These trailers are double compressed. One's for Lono, one's for us. That's true. I also think it's weird to pay for exclusivity when Sony is full of third-person open-world games. I'll be honest with you. I think their exclusivity deal is probably a good call because I actually thought this was a Sony title. I thought this was a Sony first-party title. I did. Because it just looks like one. It kind of feels like one. You got this open world, you got this third person, you got this combat, you got all this animation and all these, really, really cool looking lighting effects and particle effects. I 100% thought this was a first party exclusive, like always exclusive title. Thank you, Toasty, for doing 12 months and for being on a full membership. Guys, there's about 900 of you that need to switch off a base membership to full membership, and it only costs $1. So make sure you do that before December. If it said at least 2 years, because Sony might be in talks of buying Square Enix. I mean, that's not a bad theory, J Murph. Maybe it says at least till January. And then maybe it's because they're in current contractual negotiations right now. If Sony buys Square Enix, that would obviously change the terms of everything. Thank you, Jake, for upgrading to full membership. Let's get a little upgrade train going, guys. We need as many of you as possible. Either pick full for $1, or we made VIP a lot more affordable. It's only $9.99 now. I can only see Discord right now, says Wheezy. I can see and hear everything, and I still don't know what's going on. Typical day. Go full chat. This is your one free pass. That's right. Actually, I think he's a mod. Eugene Dude speaking on it as if it's a fact. I agree it's a possibility, but to keep driving it as a fact without proof is weird. Thank you for 16 months, Jake. You might be misunderstanding, though. And no, he's not a mod. He's just a longtime member. And we've consistently disagreed, and he has consistently talked to me about what was one of the things. Yeah, the most recent disagreement that he and I had was about Hogwarts timed exclusivity, and I didn't like it, and I was harsh. He's not driving it as a fact. I think one element that he's saying is a fact is that companies will analyze cost of development and porting, and they will consider lowest common denominator, so how much they're going to have to change and downgrade and remove, right? How much are they going to have to downgrade and remove? And that's part of the equation, which means the Series S could be beneath memory thresholds that this game needs. And what's that mean? Well, that means they'd have to go in and fundamentally change things. They'd have to make the game run on that system. How do you become a mod? Generally speaking, I'm always looking at chat, so we don't need like a super long list of mods. Okay, let's switch videos. This is the other video. We don't typically need that many. I've had people reach out and ask, to be mods, and I don't even entertain those discussions. It's immediately awkward. Don't mistake people speaking in a factual matter for pushing a narrative. Yeah, I don't necessarily think anybody here is pushing a narrative. We've been concerned about the Series S for a while, and we're saying maybe it's part of the equation for a 2-year exclusivity deal on this title. Maybe. The elephant in the room is that there's not enough money in making an Xbox version, period. Game Pass was created a weird funnel from Microsoft, and that's probably a barrier for third-party publishers who want to sell their game. Thank you, Pashinsky, for upgrading to a full membership. Thank you so much for doing that. It's the chicken and the egg talk. They don't sell well because there just isn't that many right now. Series S is so saturated, can devs really leave it behind? If you're more firmly rooted on the Sony platform in the Asian market, then yes, you can. The projections for the PlayStation, 5 are so good that yes, I believe companies can afford to be like, we'll just not come to your platform. He literally never said it was his opinion or alluded that it could be a possibility. I feel like he quite literally said that it's a possibility. He said, exclusivity deals always come down to, is it worth developing for the other platform, or is it better to take the exclusivity deal? And Series S development struggles are now another factor in that. So he's not saying that that's why. He's not saying, oh, that's why. He's saying that's another factor in the equation now. And that could be a small factor or a big factor. He didn't say it was the determining factor. He didn't say, oh, yep, people are going to be skipping the S now and they're going to be going exclusive to Sony. He's saying, listen, if your game's primarily developed for this other platform over here, and then you're considering bringing it over here to this one, the Series S is a part of that equation now. And I don't think that's false. He's not saying the level of impact that the Series S will have. He's simply saying it is now a part of the discussion in the equation for developers. This game looks sick, and it looks unique, so I'm pretty hyped for it. That's all I know. Yeah, I actually think some of the stuff I saw in the combat, this part in particular, where you're creating phantom footholds is what they call them, phantom footholds. I actually think that makes me excited to see how fun some of the boss fights can be. Like, creating your own space. A lot of the times in games like this, that's a significant challenge, is the enemies are so big, the bosses are so big, it's difficult to make space. And being able to kind of create your own verticality, I think, is interesting to me. I like being able to utilize a lot of the space. There were elements of Horizon Forbidden West that I found a little irritating. Too much politics involved. Involved in what? No one's talking about politics at all. So right here is the screenshot at the end of the trailer that's caused some of this discussion. It says not available on other consoles until at least January 23rd, 2025. And we just found that to be a weird window of time. And we were speculating on all the reasons that might be happening. You think devs having to account for Series S development costs is an opinion? Yeah, like that's my point, is Eugene is saying it's a factor. He's not saying how strong the factor is. It's just a factor in the discussion. Gaming politics? I mean, I don't think there's any gaming politics going on. I think there's people that are obviously big fans of Microsoft, or maybe they own a Series S, and they hear us saying these things and they think we're being haters or they think we're trying to like bash it or something. It's like, that's not at all what we're doing. Sony is more than likely just waiting to see if the game performs well or underperforms. I feel if it does well, Xbox won't get it. If it underperforms, as most Square games, Xbox will get it. That logic doesn't track for me. So if the game performs poorly, they're going to spend money to put it somewhere else. Like, they're going to go deeper in the hole if the game performs poorly to try to sell it somewhere else. So their target market, Sony platform, Asian market, if it doesn't do well there, they're going to kick it to the Western platform and spend more money to do that. That logic doesn't track. And then if it performs really well, they're going to keep it. I actually think if it performs really, really well, they might justify investing in porting it because they could say, hey, we could make more money off of this. If it does poorly, it's not worth the dev time to port it to Xbox. Yeah, like if your game can't even do well in its target market, in its target console, it doesn't stand to reason that it's going to suddenly be worth porting to the other platform and the other market, the other region. Xbox, is primarily, a Western console with a Western audience. Not only. Could we get 21 more likes on this video? Could we? I bet you we could hit 400 likes. I think we can do it. I believe in you. If it underperforms on PC and PS5, they're not spending more money porting it to Xbox. Yeah, I don't track with that logic. I'm talking on Sony's part. I believe they have the ability to pay to keep it there. I'm not speaking on Square's view. But you are speaking on Square's view. If Square is gonna invest money in porting this to Xbox, I don't think they would do it if it performed poorly. Like, oh, it performed poorly. It's time to shell out more money. Game didn't sell well. Time to dump more money and resources into it. Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that logic at all. Kratos, we currently don't have a link to the Glasses partner because we are currently not with a Glasses partner. That's something that's currently in progress. So there is no link to a Glasses partner right now. Listen, I'm saying I think Sony can pay to keep it fully exclusive. That's why there's no definite date. Final Fantasy VII sold well and it's coming to Xbox. Okay, you just... Oh, I'm sorry. Final Fantasy VII sold well and it isn't coming to Xbox. Right, but again, that's not... It doesn't logically follow that if a game sells well, they'll keep it off of Xbox. That's not the determiner. Now, that is probably a factor. They're like, hey, this thing's doing really well and there's good demand for it. Let's keep the exclusivity deal going. I think that is logical at one level, but that's not the sole determining factor. Like, if a game does commercially well, keep it exclusive. If a game does commercially poorly, it's time to invest in kicking it to other places. So I think what you're saying is, Malcolm, if I'm understanding your position correctly, if it does poorly commercially, Sony will stop paying for the exclusivity. They'll be like, we don't freaking care about that title. You're basically saying if it doesn't do commercially well, Sony's no longer interested in keeping it exclusive. And I think there might be some logic to that of like, yeah, why would we bother continuing to back this losing horse? But that doesn't suddenly then therefore mean it comes to Xbox. It just means Sony's no longer footing an exclusivity bill. You know? Here's the frame that, freaked everybody out. Not available on other consoles until January 23rd, 2025. And we've just been switching between the two. Yes, that's my opinion. Okay, I understand your point, Malcolm. I don't necessarily think you're wrong. If Forspoken release date and like the commercial sales of the game don't go that well, I could see Sony being like, yeah, we paid for 2-year exclusivity. That's all we're paying for. We're not paying for anything else. The game didn't do well. We're not getting a great ROI. The game's got bad. Let's say it gets bad reviews. If the game gets bad reviews, bad scores, it's commercially unsuccessful. Okay, sure, but that doesn't then therefore mean Square is going to invest money importing it to Xbox. Do you understand what I'm saying? It sounded to me, Malcolm, like you're like, yeah, if it's not commercially successful, it'll come to Xbox. That doesn't make an ounce of sense, right? It's totally sensible to say if it doesn't do commercially well, Sony will no longer be interested in it and they'll stop paying for exclusivity deals and they'll stop paying for, to market it and stuff. Why 2 years, though? Doesn't most of the money come during the first 6 months? My thought process on it is really simple, Zubair. They, I think, have DLC and ongoing plans that they're interested in. When's One Piece come out? I just got an email about that One Piece game. Pre-order the game January 13th. I think that's going to be a fun. I think that's actually going to be a fun title, personally. Personally, I think that's going to be a fun title. Even for someone like me who's not huge in that world, I think that one's going to be fun. So, thank you to everybody who hit subscribe today. We greatly appreciate everybody who has joined in our subscription funnel here, getting us closer to another milestone of 22,000 subscribers. Help us hit a milestone of 400 likes on the video. We greatly appreciate everybody who does that this morning. We really enjoy. What in the world? Okay. I don't know anything about One Piece. There's so many episodes. Who's playing One Piece here? I don't know if I'm ready for all those anime. Yeah. I didn't think there were that many in the trailer. It doesn't look like that's like a primary focus of their art and art style. There's definitely a few, buxom people bouncing around, but it doesn't seem like it's as extreme as other anime. Joker says, in my opinion, a game doing well has nothing to do with it. These marketing deals are made way before the launch date. Even if the game flops on PlayStation, that's the risk that's onboarded. Right. I think what he was saying, though, Joker, is like an ongoing thing. An ongoing thing. Are they going to attempt an ongoing exclusivity deal? And he's basically like, no, probably not. Why don't your streams show up on Spotify as often? We don't live stream on Spotify. We kick the episodes there once I'm not live as like a recording. And the way that we do it, we have to download the entire episode from YouTube and then upload the audio to Spotify. If Spotify allows me to live stream seamlessly with like some kind of restreaming software, I would freaking do it in a heartbeat. I would. That's a good platform, to be live streaming on. But currently there's no way for me to do that, not that I know of. We were going to try and do it on Podbean and it didn't work. We tried it one day and it didn't work. We were live for like an hour and it shut me down automatically. Like it wasn't a good back-end system. Spotify has the stream video and everything. Yeah, you just get it like a day later. So like what I'm talking about right now on November the 7th about Forspoken new gameplay, it'll hit Spotify on like November the 8th probably. So, yeah. There's not a way for us to seamlessly do it. It'd be freaking amazing if I could go live here on YouTube and, talk about Forspoken new gameplay and be showing it like this and show up on Spotify and everybody sees the same thing. I'm gonna try and look into streaming on the other platforms. The only way to stream on the clock app, you have to do it through the phone, and then I can't see what anybody's friggin' saying. So I can't see if people are tipping me or debating me or anything. I mean, I can, but the way I did it was so awful. I had to have like an iPad down here. It was terrible. Forspoken shows damage numbers. I don't remember seeing that in the first trailer. Yeah, that's one of the JRPG influences. That's pretty common in those types of games. Square sold off all their Western studios and appear to be focusing more on Japan, so it makes sense they're working closely with Sony. Xbox doesn't sell outside of North America. Series S did well in the Japanese market, in the Asian market, for like the first time in the history of their consoles, which was good to see, but it wasn't enough to probably impact what you're talking about. Ask Tyler how he does it. Yeah, he probably has I think he has multiple computers doing it. He doesn't have one feed. He has multiple computers doing it because his camera angle is different on the one platform. Any indication of the voice acting getting better for the English version? No. In fact, the woman who voices over these trailers has a very weird, like, it doesn't sound high budget. There's like a narrator on these videos. So these videos are of Magic Parkour and Magic Combat. So the Forspoken gameplay you're seeing kind of breaks into those two categories. And the woman that narrates them, it's just not that, it's not that great. Any commentary or early impression of the aesthetic look of the game? I said this morning, it just feels like a tech demo puke fest. It's like they just vomited on the game. There's all these things you can do, abilities, moves, traversal. The biomes and the worlds don't have any identity. They feel very generic and just kind of spit out. The enemies don't seem to have any relationship to the biomes that you're in, except for the deer in the one section. They look like elk or deer. They look, somewhat tied to their surroundings. The first time I saw Horizon Zero Dawn, everything about the game ebbed and flowed together. This game just feels like a smattering. I don't know. It looks fun. Like, that move right there got my attention on my first watch through. The fact that you can actually use the tether grapple whip thing. They call this the zip. You can use it in combat, I think is cool. And then there's another one where you can create something they called phantom footholds. Like, in the middle of the fight, you can create little platforms, momentary platforms to jump off of. How well do third-party action-adventure games that don't release on Game Pass do on Xbox? That's the question that needs to be answered. Right, and we've talked about this before, like the negative effects that Game Pass could have, and Game Pass could quite literally be having a negative impact on the consumer's mindset of not, I think, being almost antagonistic towards buying games at full price. Like, when half of your consumer base is on a subscription service, I just wonder what that does to sales. So, you know what I'm saying? I have a short out there somewhere, and it's like devs are going to hate this. One of the first questions so many of us ask, I ask this, I know you guys ask this, is it on Game Pass? Can I get it on Game Pass? Good games will sell? I mean, how do we know that? Tomb Raider sold fine on Xbox, did it not? I don't know, but they paid for exclusivity, and that was well before the Game Pass effect. Game Pass was not at the saturation that it is right now when they did that. And I got news for you, Jake. If they pay for timed exclusivity now, they would have put Tomb Raider on Game Pass. So that was a different era. They paid for timed exclusivity in Tomb Raider, and they sold it. It wasn't on Game Pass. Tales of Arise is a JRPG, sold well. Elden Ring sold well. I don't know the numbers. I don't know if those claims are accurate. I'm not saying that you can't sell games. I'm not saying you can't sell games on Xbox. I'm saying, what if year after year they're having an effect on their consumer base, which inevitably hurts their potential sales market? I'm not saying that people don't buy games on Xbox. You're misunderstanding me if you think that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, what if the consumer base is shrinking as a potential purchasing market? You look at how many people are on a Series X and a Series S, and you say, okay, what are the potential sales over there? What if sales projections on the Microsoft platform are going down? And that inevitably has an effect on where games land. Does that make sense? I'm not saying people don't buy over there, but what if you're shrinking your potential day one purchasers with Game Pass? I'm just saying your potential day one purchasers. What if you're shrinking that funnel of people? Microsoft has shown data that Game Pass users spend more on games. Yeah, but that data, that doesn't have anything to do with day one purchases. You're going to a user base who's automatically spending more money. Like, whenever you buy a subscription, you're already spending more money, right? Oh, here are people who are voluntarily signing up for a subscription service. Hey, funny to find out, they spend more money than the average user. Oh, of course they do. They're spending more money per year automatically than somebody who buys 1 or 2 games. Studies show that the average person buys between 1 and 3 games a year. That means a ton of people on the Xbox platform spend less than Game Pass users by default because they buy 2 games a year. If you buy 1 or 2 games a year on Xbox and you're not on Game Pass, of course you're spending less. You spent $60 to $120. You're automatically spending less than all the Game Pass users. Immediately spending less. Good games sell well. I don't think you're not hearing what I'm saying. You're not hearing what I'm saying. You're repeating platitudes. Good games sell well. Good games sell well. That you're just repeating a platitude. I'm saying there's a potential Game Pass effect on the user base so that when a company does potential sales projections on the Microsoft platform, you now have a smaller footprint of day one purchasers. Potential day one purchasers. Why? Because a large portion of the user base is on a subscription service that gives them lots of games to play day and date. So, I'll wait. I have tons of games to play right now. I'll wait. I'll see if it ever hits Game Pass. I'll wait. If it's not on Game Pass, I don't want to play it. There's a litany of reasons why the Xbox user base could be turning into a non-day one purchasing funnel. Or a lower percentage of day one purchasing funnel. I'm not saying they are. I'm saying it's a possibility that, again, could be weighing in. Yo, it's good, Infinite. Yeah, Guardians was a good game, didn't sell that well. Yeah, there were other mitigating factors, though. I don't think Guardians did that well, and I fault Avengers for that. Could we get 8 more likes on this video? I was really hesitant to cover Forspoken. The last couple times we've covered it, it didn't go that well, and I feel like today has gone really well, so we appreciate you guys supporting. We appreciate you guys supporting today's stream, hitting like, hitting subscribe. We greatly appreciate that. And Forspoken's been a weird title to cover. It's been a weird title in general as far as like what people's reception of it has been. You know, it's been a tad strange. So I'm just checking the back end here. Yeah, we're getting nothing off of search, but we are getting good clicks off of suggest and homepage. So if you saw this video on your homepage or it was suggested to you on another video, we appreciate you clicking on this. We're not getting any search results because I don't think anybody's searching for this game. I don't think it's a hot ticket item right now. We're a little bit too far away from a release, and God of War Ragnarok is likely kind of cannibalizing search results and search funnels, which is understandable. We're actually going to be doing something fun with God of War today, so make sure and stick around for that. Square botched Avengers and everyone was sour. Yeah, I think that hurt it. I think anybody that looked at a Marvel title, I readily admit that I think that the primary driving factor that hurt Guardians was actually Avengers. I'll readily admit that. I don't think it did poorly for any other reason than that. Well, no. I'm sorry. There's 2 big reasons why Guardians didn't do well. Number 1, Avengers made everybody really skittish about another Marvel title. And number 2, they didn't look like the MCU Guardians. So a lot of people thought they quote-unquote looked weird. Comic book fans had no problem with their appearance, right? The comic book fans were like, oh, they all look great. But I think they looked... To many people, they didn't look right. I'm not saying they didn't look right. I'm saying subjectively speaking, people took one look and they're like, yeah, that doesn't look right to me. Right? That doesn't look right. Something's off, you know? Okay. And that. And that. Square didn't develop Avengers. Oh, if anybody's saying that, that's not what I was saying. I was saying that people took one look at Guardians of the Galaxy and said, it's another Marvel title. Marvel is sucking right now. That's what I was saying. I think people just saw another Marvel game and got concerned. Generally speaking, I don't think anybody was looking beyond that. They were like, yep, yeah, no, I'm good, Okay, all channel members. We are getting ready to head to members only. If you are not a member, now's a great time to become one. It's $6 a month for a full membership. We're asking everybody who is currently paying for their membership to upgrade to the $6, the $6 full membership. So that way the $5 base level membership can be reserved only for gifted members. So that way in December, I can say, hey, full members, people that pay for their membership get everything. People that get gifted get a sample of what we do. We really want to start to honor the gifted membership investment that people are kind of doing in the platform. Are putting Hitty wide. Team doesn't have it yet. We'll need those titles going to be indexed. We'll need to title. Oh, okay. Cool. No worries. So now's a great time to become a member. After members, we are going to be coming back. We're going to be coming back and doing a God of War 2018 story recap. We're going to do a part 1. Time for members before we head to the God of War story recap part 1 stream. Post. There we go. So we will be doing that recap today, but before we do that, I take a lunch break. It's I guess we'll call it lunch with Lono. I take a little lunch break and hang out with the members while we wait before going live with a different stream. So we kicked off today with Forspoken new gameplay, and now we are going to be heading to a member stream. If you're a member and you don't like using redirect, then just click the link in chat. If you're watching right now and you want to support me with a t-shirt purchase or coffee or membership, those are all great ways to support what I do. You'll notice that we stream for 2.5 hours and I didn't run any ads. Now, when you watch the VOD, there are ads spaced about 20 minutes apart. We think that's fair. That's not that aggressive. And also, we primarily live in the live environment on this channel. And we also are now uploading stream highlights, so be sure to watch those when you see those in your feed, and we will end every day with a stream highlight premiere. We'll take you guys to it. So I'm going to head to members only with members. Members, you guys can... And Zachary, thanks for becoming a member, but you want to pick full starting in December. A base membership will not have access to everything. I wish there was a way for me to set the default membership so that wasn't a mistake people make. The $6 membership is full. Eventually, that base membership will be titled trial membership. That hopefully is like a big buzzword that makes people like, wait, I want a full membership. You have until December to upgrade to full membership. Starting in December, base members will not get access to all of the members-only content. We're relegating that level for gifteds only. So again, members, click the link in chat. Now's a great time to become a member, and I'm going to redirect us to the new stream. We'll be back in about an hour with the God of War 2018 story recap part 1. Thanks so much for clicking on this. If you're watching this past broadcast, it means you are a member. We've now been doing member streams in the middle of the day. It gives me time to kind of eat my lunch in peace and not feel rushed. It also gives us an opportunity to hang out with more members. More of you tend to be here earlier in the day. I've made this PSA so many times. Make sure you are not at a base membership. A $5 membership in December will be a trial membership that's designed for gifted members to get a sampling of what we do. I need all members to upgrade to the $6 membership of full. It's only $1 difference. I need you at full membership or VIP, okay? I need you to do that before December, all right? So please do that. I'm going to end the previous stream and bring everybody over. We were talking about Forspoken.